This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Thursday, the 15th of August, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. Media reports indicate 6 alleged bandits were shot and killed by police around noon yesterday, Wednesday, on Mission Road in Freeport. They were allegedly involved in 2 home robberies in the central area in the last 12 hours before their deaths. Reports also indicated the 5 men and 1 female accomplice committed a second robbery at a residence in Balmain, Couva, before apprehended by police near Razak Trace on Mission Road in Freeport. Police claimed the robbers fired at them, and they returned fire in accordance with their use of force policy. All 6 people, including the 5 males and 1 female, were shot dead. 4 of the killed were ID'd as Kevin St. Bernard, also called Kevin John, Jovan Simmons or Simon, Saloni Raghill, and Nicholas Caesar. Yesterday's police-involved shooting brought the number of persons killed by police by law enforcement to 9 in 4 days. Meanwhile, the Police Complaints Authority has indicated a probe has been launched into the deaths of the 6 people who were killed by police yesterday. The PCA is also continuing its probe into Sunday's shooting, deaths by police earlier in the week. Those killed on Sunday were Jai Jodi Bharat, 21, Amy Pam Bisoon, 17, and Joseph Ramjit, 19. Police allege Bisoon was a member of a resistance gang, and Ramjit was allegedly affiliated also with the gang. Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines said police were stepping up their efforts against extortionists, although saying new technology could hinder the detection of extortion offenses. 2 opposition MPs, St. Augustine MP Khadija Amin and Pointe-a-Pierre MP David Lee, explained the rampant extortion in their constituencies. Minister Hines said extortion is a very difficult issue because given technology as simple as a phone, the criminal doesn't have to be present. He also said the crime was becoming more widespread because when a contractor, for example, is operating a business, extortionists do not have the benefit of to be present. It also could be simply a phone call, an email, or a letter. He said extortionists had ways of reaching people, instilling fear and death in them. He added there are already officers in the police service who are very astute, who understand the nature and circumstances around the crime and how to deal with it. President of the Police Social and Welfare Association, Gideon Dixon, says the organization is still not satisfied with the results of significant spending on national security over the years. He said while concepts have been adopted from abroad and used locally, it is important to ensure systems are put in place which are designed to meet unique challenges facing Trinidad and Tobago. Former Sport Minister Ken Butcher, Dr. Ken Butcher, is suggesting the establishment of a sport commission in TNT. Dr. Butcher said the commission has been proposed in the past, however claimed it's never materialized. The former government minister explains one of the benefits of having such a commission is the avoidance of political interference when it comes to the development and expansion of new sporting programs that will then become sustainable. He said sporting organizations need to stay focused, invest in youth, and display proper leadership. Meanwhile, Minister of Sport and Youth, Shamfa Kojo, is urging Caribbean nations, which took part in the Olympic Games in Paris recently, to do a review of their country's performances. She believes there can be partnership and sharing of knowledge regionally in the sporting arena. Minister Kojo made the points while speaking at a news briefing earlier this week. In her view, there are practices and programs which are a success in some countries, which can be adopted in other territories in the region. In Jamaica, police have apprehended at least 5 individuals in connection with the killing of 8 people, including 3 women and a child, and the injuring of 9 others, including a baby, on Cherry Tree Lane, 4 Parts, Clarendon, on Sunday evening. One of the individuals in question reportedly turned himself into police, and a legal firearm was also seized. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey provided the update during a press conference at the office of the Prime Minister yesterday, Wednesday. Addressing the media, DCP Bailey said the shooting is linked to several other incidents. He further noted the ongoing feud seemingly stems from a long-standing international dispute between former friends. The Employment Rights Tribunal in Barbados has dismissed a case in which a transgender woman changed her unfair dismissal against the legal firm because the laws of the country are silent on transgender identity. The ERT dismissed the claim brought by Alexa Hoffman, a former clerical officer at Court Caribbean Law Practice, who contended the firm terminated a contract without notice in 2018, alleging the dismissal was based on gender discrimination. The tribunal this week said Ms. Hoffman has no standing, being a complaint based on gender discrimination. And finally, U.S. forecasters say Tropical Storm Ernesto grew to a hurricane yesterday, Wednesday, leaving more than 600,000 customers without power in Puerto Rico. The storm left some 604,000 customers in Puerto Rico without electricity, according to the power company Luma Energy. Ernesto was upgraded to the third hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season late Wednesday morning. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Thursday. It's the middle of the month, the 15th day of August. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on this Thursday. Of course, on the show this morning, you just heard from Dr. Paul Richards. We'll hear from Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Ruben and Shane in the mix. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. 24 degrees at Piaco, 26 at Crown Point. Met Office has not updated their weather as yet for today, but it's supposed to be a nice hot day. Yesterday was a scorcher. It was a hot day yesterday. On the highways and the byways, I got nothing to tell you about. Good morning to you, Paul.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
What's going on? What's going on this Thursday?
A lot, apparently.
Apparently.
Oof.
Apparently. Ooh, TTPS busy, boy.
Yes, they are busy. They're very busy, as they should be.
Yeah.
And the police complaints authority is also very busy.
Yeah. Killing of 6 individuals yesterday afternoon. I don't know. I really don't know. And then their pictures are all over the place. Anyway, so good morning to you folks. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, good morning going out to Wendy and James, Beefy Smith out in Goodwood, Tobago, Garcilli in Valencia, Boy Bedesi in Debe, Slick Money Grip, John Cato, Wayne Bennett in Covington, Georgia, Ray, morning Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida, DJ Ray out in Delaware, Oliver Man Warren, Finbar Collins, Biznath Basad, Gloria Gray, Gloria Gray says TNT and Andrell and Andrew Sindena out in South Orapooch. All right, so good morning to you. Michael Robinson in Yokohama, Japan. CJ New York. Wayne Ramsey, Kadeem Khan. Okay. Patricia DeFore, Ian Lee out in West Trinidad. And of course, David Wes. Cannot forget Mrs. Wes. Good morning to you. Sankofa. Captain Ron in Santo Domingo this morning. Okay. GNC Auto, Dan Raj, and of course, David Nelson. Good morning to you guys. And of course, Sankofa. Hope all is well with you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Whatever platform that you're using. Thank you.
Yeah. Police were quite busy yesterday. Well, the police are always busy, to be fair.
They're always busy.
6 alleged bandits shot and killed yesterday at around noon in Freeport. They were allegedly involved in 2 home robberies in the area in the past 12 hours before their deaths.
Yeah.
Police said that they opened fire on them. The 6 include 1 female and 5 men.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a report that they committed a second robbery at a residence in Vancouver before being cornered by police in Freeport.
Mm-hmm.
They claim, the police that is, that the men opened fire, well, the group opened fire, and the police responded in accordance with their use of force policy. All 6 were shot dead. I wonder if the use of the policy of regarding body cams were also engaged during that encounter. Of course, this brings to 9 persons who found themselves on the wrong end of police weapons in encounters with police. There were, is it 3 killed on earlier in the week, on the weekend, I think Sunday, including 2 teenagers.
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning in Caroni.
Mm-hmm.
So the
At
police
9.
authority is very busy investigating these police-involved killings.
Mm-hmm.
There'd already been concerns raised regarding the increasing number of police-involved killings in Trinidad and Tobago. And there are 2 sides to that. I'm not going to jump to judgment like somebody called last week, but there is cause for concern. But one can also argue that in the present environment where the criminal element doesn't seem to care about man, woman, or child, it's understandable to have a reasonable thought process that they may be the ones opening fire on police, because they are a lot more callous these days. However, in the absence of CCTV or body cam footage, we don't know. But we have to take the word of the police that is, because there are no witnesses left.
Yeah. Again, body cams.
Sips tea.
Sips tea. So I don't know.
And as I said before, there are 2 sides to every story, or 3 in some instances. And it is a more callous criminal element the police are dealing with. However, I am certainly more concerned about the number of police-involved killings in Trinidad, which is clearly increasing in number.
Yeah.
But
We're 9 for the week.
the other side of it is that the criminals are also more callous and are seemingly more likely to open fire on police because of the nature of their criminality these days. So we will see what the PCA comes up with it.
And we wait on their report.
Yep. Ambrose is saying, let's hope there are no discussion about body cams. Why shouldn't there be any discussion about body cams? Or you don't want body cams? Is that it? You don't want body cam footage? Is that the sentiment being expressed here? That you don't want body cam footage? That you think body cam footage is a bad thing somehow? Meanwhile, our colleagues and brothers and sisters in Jamaica also have their challenges with crime, and the police have already apprehended in Jamaica in connection with the shooting over the weekend of 8 people, including an 8-year-old child. They've already apprehended 5 persons in connection with the killing of those 8 people, including 3 women and a child were injured, and 9 others injured. In Clarendon, 1 person turned himself in, and the police have already said that it seems to stem from a long-standing international dispute between former friends. And the police in Jamaica seem to be making quick headway where that situation is concerned.
Yeah.
Back at home, the PCA has launched probes into the deaths of all 9, including the 6th yesterday and the 3 over the weekend, as is their mandate. The PCA Director David West said they have launched the investigations, and we shall see what comes out of it.
Yeah. I think they killed 1, I believe I read this morning somewhere.
I was expecting that. Ambrose Blythe saying, am I concerned about the number of criminal attacks on law-abiding citizens? Didn't I take time, Steve, to explain that a thought process may ensue that in this criminal callous environment, that criminals may be actually opening fire on police is more likely. Didn't I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I actually give the police the benefit of the doubt?
You did.
I just knew someone would jump out of the self and hear one part of the statement. It's just so typical.
Breathe, Paul, breathe.
The myopic thinking of some people is astounding to me. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Do question police procedure at all. Let's just accept it. Okay? Because police are always on the up and up in Trinidad and Tobago.
It's been reported too that the individuals, the police, they had individuals had 3 weapons with them.
Lincoln is saying, you're on body cam, what you want to see. Is that Lincoln? Lincoln is another Lincoln.
It's transparency.
No, what are you talking about transparency? Police say so, so.
Yeah, okay. The police say so is so.
Transparency. What you want evidence backing up the narrative for what is that? Why is that important? Forget that. I had to do that.
I really don't know.
Anyway,
Another
the Minister of National Security, let me move on before I get myself in trouble, says that police are stepping up their efforts against extortionists, which seems, well, extortion seems to be on the rise.
Yes.
Minister Hines said it's a very difficult issue. You should try to call Minister Hines for an interview next week, Steve.
Maybe I'll get him for Monday.
I think he may be open for an interview at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, he doesn't like to respond to specific things said by specific people. Mm-hmm. But I think he may be open to a general interview on the state of play with national security and how the addition of his colleague, Minister Scotland SC, is helping the ministry in their efforts in the country.
He's supposed to hand in his report today to the Minister Hines.
What, on Tobago?
Yeah.
So Minister Hines said extortion is a very difficult issue because given technology as simple as a phone, criminals don't have to be present. Absolutely true. He said the crime was becoming more widespread because, well, we're hearing more and more reports of extortion. 2 MPs, St. Augustine MP Khadijah Amin and Point de Paix MP David Hines have both reported rampant extortion attempts in their constituencies.
On the weekend, Paul, there was a guy recorded a conversation where he was being
I saw that video.
Yeah, and they went and they shot his at his house one night and they sent a message. Yeah, that was on the weekend.
Good, Avril buffering me.
Who buffering you? Avril. Sad news also in sad news is that a woman was killed by her ex-boyfriend.
Steve, I saw that.
Now, I don't know if you guys saw the video. Apparently, it is alleged.
Was that the one where he beat her and then ran the car over her?
Yeah. So she was at a bar in San Fernando with a friend who is on holidays down here. I think she celebrated her birthday on the weekend or something like that. And went into a fit of rage. And they left. We followed her on the highway and tried to chase them out to the road. We saw that video. And then they both came to a stop. He came out of the car, allegedly with a wheel spanner. I was beating her and she ran and he went after with the car and rolled over, killing her.
Oh, Father Lord.
Watching the news I watched it this morning from last night, is that she ended the relationship because she said that he was toxic.
Well, clearly capable of ending her life like that. Clearly there was abuse before.
Yeah. Beautiful girl. Beautiful. I don't know, you know.
I didn't see the actual video. Is the video of him beating her?
No, the video of them on the highway while they were driving. He's cutting them off and so on. I could send you the video, but I think you have swearing in it.
I could reduce the volume. You must send these things before, Steve.
I think I did, you know. I'm not too sure.
Processing while the show is going is quite challenging.
Yeah, let me see if I find it. Who would have sent that to me? Yeah, send that to me.
I also saw some reports of a lot of dead fish in Las Cuevas.
Yeah, I have it here. I'm going to send it to you. Just kill the audio. Yeah, somebody was saying that. Who was it?
You know,
Marsha, I think.
And
Send that to me.
I want to stress that the woman is a victim, and she should not have been treated that way. She should not have met her death that way in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing justifies a man putting his hand on a woman, and certainly not taking her life.
Or vice versa.
But when the Prime Minister said, choose your man carefully, people got upset. And it is not a judgment call on my part, but it is sound advice. Choose any partner carefully.
Yeah.
Okay?
Kadeem Khan Jr.
Sound advice. Choose your partner carefully. Particularly if you are in the online dating environment, people can invent profiles and invent personalities, and you really don't know who they are until you find yourself in trouble in that relationship, both male and female. Right? So I saw that report, and that he pounded her with the hammer and then ran the car over her. Is he at large? Has he been arrested?
Yes, he is in custody.
He's in custody.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord Father. Anyway, this condolences to her family.
Yeah.
You know,
he was stalking her and stuff. So
I saw the reports that he was actually stalking her.
Yeah.
Because she'd ended the relationship because of his seemingly toxic and violent nature, abusive nature.
Clearly, we saw that.
Yeah. I could even say dead fish around this time is not not unusual. Yeah. Let's open the lines. People are seemingly eager to join us this
morning. Just reading that. Yeah. 24 minutes after the hour is 6 o'clock.
Good morning, Lincoln.
Yes.
Good morning, Dean.
If you want to
manage yourselves.
You have a couple of minutes again to vote on our poll from yesterday where we asked you, are we getting value for money being invested in sports and TNT? You could go on our mobile app and our website to vote on that. Of course, coming up at just after our 7 o'clock news, Paul.
Jereem Richards. Actually, it'll be an all sporting morning, because after we finish at 8, Marsha Walker in Power Conversations has Brent Sancho, Riyad Emrit, and Ryan Jagasa. So she's talking more sport.
Okay.
And they're all athletes themselves. 2 cricket, I think, 1 football.
Yeah. Morning, Lincoln. I know it's you on the line, I'm sure.
Who's that?
Morning.
Good morning. Who are you talking about?
I knew it was you.
You know it was me.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I want to first of all talk about something that all this didn't take calls on yesterday. All right, but there's another thing. I'm having a problem. I don't know how you feel about it, Paul, but I'm seeing something now. Despite what all these people have done, despite the murder, the death, I still have a problem with photos being taken of deceased bodies in a health institution and being disseminated on social media. I've talked about that for a long time now, and we still have the problem of whether be it police, ward attendants, doctors, whoever it is, maybe random people just walking through the health organization, but you cannot be further dehumanizing a body in which supposed to be a safe environment, which is supposed to be a confidential environment. You're taking pictures of a deceased body or deceased bodies and putting it up on social media. despite what they do.
It is a highly unethical practice.
Yeah.
And I know it's an environment hard to control for the authorities that
people have the right to privacy in the medical field. You know,
that's all my argument has been. I've been talking about this for years. Why? I don't mind if a picture come out from on the scene or wherever, but when it reaches a health facility, you can't tell me people you take pictures out on social media with you on a gurney. That means you're in a health facility.
Yeah, and those are people in extremely vulnerable states. So it's a highly unethical practice.
And it's some kind of structure need to be put in place to stop this from happening. That was my contribution for today. There was something I was supposed to talk to Ole about, what Ole did yesterday, what Ole spoke about yesterday, but it eludes me right now.
No, you don't have your notes next year?
Say that again?
You don't have your notes next year?
In my mind, I keep telling myself I need to start to write things down.
I could imagine that you have your notes and your secretary giving you your data. Come on, your secretary didn't come out this morning.
I was starting from now, but what I said this morning on the chat and the text was, I remember there was an episode of Beyond the Tape where Marlon Hopkinson looked at the camera and asked the John public, what all you want to see? What you want body cams for? What you want to see? Nobody can fall here. Marlon Hopkinson, a journalist who making his money with cameras, watch the public and ask that question on Beyond the Tape program.
I have no further comment.
Right?
I have no comment on
that. Have a good one.
Maybe he was being sarcastic.
Quite possibly. Good morning, Mr. Ragoobarsingh. How are you this morning?
Good morning to our viewers and listeners wherever you are. But that sounds like something that you may say with sarcasm, Paul.
Saying they agree with Lincoln, never thought they would have. Lincoln, you've quite the ability to generate chat and interest. We welcome your contributions every day. We were talking earlier on, Richard, about the now 9 police-involved killings being investigated by the Police Complaints Authority, much to the chagrin of some people on the chat. How dare we question police-involved killings? You know, what we want.
But it's automatic once it's a police-involved killing.
What we want body cams to see. Why are we doubting the narrative of the police officers on duty?
Mm-hmm.
How dare we?
It's not a matter of doubting the police officers. It's a matter of, in a civilized country, you always have to have checks and balances.
Really? You think
exactly.
So? Really?
What it is.
Sure?
You have to have checks and balances.
No, because the sentiments of some is that they're criminals, kill them out.
Yeah, well.
That's sentiments of some. A lot of people, I'm lying. The sentiments of some people is that once you are in an encounter with police, you pay the price of that encounter, and if you're dead, you're dead.
Mm-hmm. Well, it can't just be like that. In a civilized country, you have to have.
Are you serious? I never would have thought.
Balances against the power of the police.
What an odd thought process coming from you, Richard Ragoobarsingh.
See, you're doing a Marlon Hopkinson there.
You mean accountability and transparency shouldn't go out the door?
You're being sarcastic.
You know, I mean, I took time to elucidate earlier on that one may actually proffer a logical thought process that in the present criminal environment where we're seeing more and more callousness from the criminals, and they're driving by and shooting 8 and 10 people and children getting caught up, that I could actually understand that the criminals don't care if they're opening fire on civilians, they're opening fire on police. So I could understand that, but that doesn't mean there shouldn't be transparency and accountability when there are police-involved killings. But who am I to proffer such a inane thought process?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I?
It's just like when a prisoner dies in the custody of the state.
No, he in jail. If he dead, he dead.
It has to be investigated.
Really?
No matter how heinous the crime, and no matter how horrible the crime and how
But
public.
even if he on remand and is awaiting trial, he in prison.
Yeah,
So wherever happen.
Yeah, but because people have died in custody.
Yeah.
But it has to be investigated. Yeah.
See?
Be
Finalist, kill them out. Fire burn the judiciary.
You gotta be careful what you ask for.
I don't do that. The phone lines are open, good people.
Considerable power left unchecked
Mm-hmm.
can open a door that you wish you never went down.
These are the same people who sometimes upset that people fall off chair and dead, in the accounts of some people. Every other moment. As I will keep calling for the consistent use of body cams because they offer evidence to support narratives. It's very important.
It's about transparency and accountability. So if you have done wrong, you should be held accountable.
And if you've done right, the evidence supports you followed procedure and process.
Exactly.
Not about catching you.
It exonerates.
It exonerates police and supports that they've acted professionally, but who are we to think that way? God forbid. I mean, we're under siege, so let's just let anything happen. 222 talk.
Yeah.
So we're still taking your calls. 222 talk 222-8255.
John Cater, you see? 09, everybody quiet.
North Americans 866-525-1099. This is your opportunity to be interactive on the Power Breakfast Show this morning. On this Thursday morning, the weekend begins tonight, people. At a second after midnight, that Thursday, we start to get a big smile on our faces as we head towards the weekend. And of course, theater is on this weekend at Cipriani College. So looking forward to being at Cipriani College this weekend with our newest play, Lotto Madness. Saturday at 8:30 and Sunday at 6:30. And tickets are available at the Cipriani College box office from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. I know quite a few people went there yesterday to buy tickets, and I believe all outlets are selling. So you can get your tickets at all outlets. All outlets were selling tickets yesterday in droves, so get your tickets early. Of course, tickets available at K Squared Fashions, at C3, at Eastgate, West Mall, and Brentwood Mall in Chagonas, and of course, Jubilee Rawe in Tunapuna, and Tony's Florals in Val Park Shopping Plaza, right close there to Cipriani College. Val Park residents, you can get your tickets at Antony's Florals in Val Park Shopping Plaza. And of course, Shoffley Auto Services for those of you in that area, and Electronics in Arima for those of you in the arena.
Yeah. Of course, Lotto is 8.4 million for Saturday's draw.
And so, apropos, that Richard has a play called Lotto Madness. It is not sponsored by NLCB.
Yeah.
Like I said, the shop we opened lines. We opened lines too early, or maybe Zena. You were quite energetic last evening when I saw you. How come you still? Anyway, I never go past one innings. You just get kind of tired. So sorry about that. I'm very upset with the technology. I edited a video to share with the audience of global celebration of World Steel Pan Day in London, in Japan, and in Times Square, New York. But somehow the technology messed me up, and the file became corrupted, and I got so frustrated I didn't do it over.
Well, once you meet a burden, once you meet some obstacle, you give up easily.
What's that?
Once you meet an obstacle, you give up easily.
Yeah.
No. But I spent so much time editing and putting it together. I said, what they look well.
Behave. All right, let's grab this call. Good morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I listened to you all quite regularly in relation to this body camera issue. As once it stay only in as a policy of the police service and the executive of the service refusing to actually put it into practice. When things like that continues to happen where the executive doesn't carry out the function, you should think about moving it into the contractual agreement. I don't know how they go about their negotiation and who negotiates on behalf of the police, but if it becomes part of the contractual agreement where their union signs with the management, and then you put a disciplinary procedure if it's not followed. It is one time an incident happens where you actually want to review what transpired and the police cannot provide the evidence, you give a warning. It could be warning up to 3 times.
Sir, good sir.
Yes.
The police leadership are on record as saying that body cam use, particularly in high stakes situation, is already standard operating procedure. And it's in the regulations that if police do not comply with standard operating procedure, there are already disciplinary measures available. So all those things you're suggesting, which are wonderful, are already in existence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Whether or not they're being consistently applied is something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. I want to mention something about, I don't know if you all spoke about, I don't remember if you all spoke about it yesterday, the mother that was killed by her son. What was the eye-catching part of that situation was his job. What I heard on the news is that he was an accountant in Wassa. So yes, he was incarcerated in St. Anne's before, so he had his papers. But he was a functioning mentally ill person. To be an accountant in Wassa means you had your mental capacities was functional at some point in time. What I find strange about that situation, I heard a testimony from the father who talked about he disconnected the Wi-Fi and he wasn't able to make a call. And what I find strange about that is 999 doesn't need 999 doesn't need internet.
No, it doesn't.
999 is a free number to call. Why you allow your wife to be assaulted for 12 hours and you ain't call 999 to make a report?
How you mean allowed his wife to be assaulted for 9 hours? Explain that.
I must admit, Lincoln, that part of the story confused me too. Because it was 12 hours that she suffered this abuse according to the media reports. And you were like,
12 hours.
How could somebody be abused for 12 hours and nobody's reported this to the police?
Call a neighbor, shout out, call a friend, fire, all your fire, help me. Nothing for 12 hours.
12 hours.
Oh my.
That's crazy.
I don't know, because of course I wasn't there, but very often people get to the point where they normalize behaviors and they think it's just another one of the incidents that happened in the past year. And
maybe so.
Yeah, and you don't know that given the person's reported history, they may have become so accustomed to erratic behavior that they may just think, he's act up and didn't think it would escalate. Yeah. So very often that happens, but you're right.
I have said it before, and I would say it again. I would use your platform to say it again. I would caution women. Anytime a man make a gesture, if you could even hear he really thought that he is willing to raise his hand to lash you, let that be a sign to get out and get out quickly.
It's interesting. I have a friend who was in a relationship for 4 years, and her partner, like all relationships have the little discord and stuff. And her partner at the time was a member of law enforcement in the US. And they had an argument and they were joking about something because somebody was sending her an unsolicited request to go out and stuff. And he made a joke and told her, and if you leave me, you're dead, right? He can't have you. And the next day she was out of there. And he said he overreact. And it's a joke I was making, and she was out.
That was it. That's
He
all
couldn't
you need.
understand why she was out. And she said, there's nothing funny about that to me. Do not call me again. And took out a restraining order against him and got it.
Mm-hmm.
That is all you need.
And she said he's actually tried to convince everybody, including her family. I was just joking with her. And she said, that ain't no joke to me. I don't want to see you again ever.
I also heard on the news that in the home of the 6 people, they found the ID cards of people that were robbed, people who also broken into. So there's no doubt that these are the correct people. There's no question about it, that these are the people that was putting on the robberies. However, Paul, I support your statement 150% that I would have liked body cam evidence to support.
Why? To see what? To see what? What do you want to see?
Exactly.
You want to see what you want to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
Okay, then have a good one.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lincoln.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
My heart is warmed.
I just don't understand why some men don't understand we done. It's over. Move on.
It worked both ways, yeah?
Because this is Miss Diego Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Because some men, unfortunately, are socialized to believe that their woman is their property.
Oh, really?
No, that's the mindset. And how dare you leave me? You can't leave me. I own you. Nobody else can have you. That's the mindset, unfortunately.
Yeah. I got George sang the song, Control Your Property, and they take it literally. I don't know, but sometimes I feel women stay in these toxic relationships too long. Right? And as you were saying, your friend who you had known when the guy, and as you said that about your friend who said when the husband or boyfriend say if you hurt me, what he go do, and there was a killing where I think this police killed his wife after dropping back his son somewhere in the Shogunas area. He was married before, and it came out on the newspaper where the first wife said, just what you said, Paul. The first wife said the ex-husband, while they were married, told her that what you will do if he find out she owned him or whatever. And she left him, divorced him. And this next wife came and got married to him, and she got killed. Never forget when that lady put that. It was on the papers. There's where I read it. So these things, you got to take the warning sign.
That's the situation in West Morings when the TT defense force person killed the woman and her mother.
Yeah, no, it was Glencoe, not West.
Glencoe. Yeah, I remember that. When the previous person in the relationship said he showed signs and she was out. But my friend knew that her partner at the time had access to an FUL, so she wasn't making jokes.
Yeah, but Paul, it seems like you stay, you gain it. You leave, you're still getting killed. Wait, is
sometimes.
Anyway, I want to give the police kudos this morning. The police finally pushing back. All you now realize, you only have to show you're in control. Well done, officers. My God. And I think all you have to go to Tobago too. Because look at that robbery, look at the violence towards the people those bandits did in that jewelry place.
Yeah.
Police
and
officers.
in that incident, it seemed as if their faces might be visible with regard to once they once they use the footage and clear it up. It looked like their faces are pretty visible, so they should catch those guys. Oh yeah.
Richard, you realize what's going on? Them don't care, some of them ain't coming with mass. They ain't coming with mass. So Officers, I think all you have to head over to Tobago and show
What did they
them.
do? They did there.
We can't go on this way. Officers, take a bow this morning. Well done. Or you finally decide to push back. You'll have
Check your phone, Ragoobarsingh.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you.
Ragoobarsingh, check your phone, please.
Okay.
All right, your papers, Ragoobarsingh.
I absolutely do.
Could you share them with us?
Sure. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Daily Express for today, and of course, today is Thursday, August 15th, 2024. The headline on the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Daily Express: Cops kill 6 after bandits terrorize pensioner for 20 minutes. And most TV stations had an interview with the pensioner. And there is a picture of him on the front page this morning. He pleaded with intruders, stroke survivor Edward Taylor. He was one of the IDs I think they found in the house with the six deceased. So and he was unable to fight back, but he did some interviews yesterday, and he lives in an area apparently where people still leave their doors open and stuff like that. So it's considered pretty safe, and all of a sudden they had this spate of robberies.
Yep.
And well, that community is apparently now breathing a sigh of relief. Post what happened. And of course, there's a picture of the house where the incident took place with the police yesterday. Express tops CBU Media Awards. So congrats to the Express on the awards you would have won. And on the back page, woman chased and run over by car killed by ex. That is a crazy story. I saw that on news last night too, where she was with another guy who was visiting from Jamaica, and he pulled in front of them, caused a collision. She ran out of the car, ran across the highway. He went and a roundabout and chased down the highway and hit her. And I mean, I don't know. That's some humans.
Yeah. If you could call them.
So some other, but of course, I have to go into the Daily Express to get the sports news. Shabar temptation. West Indies consider pacer Joseph for Test Series decider, and Mbappe shines. Madrid win Super Cup. So Kylian Mbappe at it again. And table tennis standout Stephen Wade passes. Best days ahead. Olympic athletes return home. Carter to do Paris post-mortem, and Randy Hall and Boudou share first day honors at Under-17 Championship. So that's the sports news on the Daily Express. The Guardian for today, front page. Cops kill 6 bandits. Robbery victim says he's not sorry, they're dead. And there is a picture of the house. Sunken barge moved from Tobago oil spill site. There's an inset photo of, robbery victim, Edward Taylor. Crime scene investigators search for evidence at the house where 3 bandits robbed Edward Taylor. The trio were later among 6 bandits, including Kevin John inside below, who were killed by responding police at the house near Razar Trace in Freeport. A woman run over on highway, killed by ex-lover. Well, that's all of the horrible stories on the front page of basically all of the dailies this morning, especially that woman being run over. Athletes begin Olympic review. That's on the back page. And gold. There's a picture of Real Madrid, Kylian Mbappe celebrating that goal that I would have spoken about in the last headline on the Express. Newsday, front page. Police confront robbery suspects in Freeport. Cops kill 6 in shootout. Obsessed man kills Gasparillo woman. And there's a picture of the scene of the house. So all of the 3 dailies kind of have synchronized almost headlines this morning and all covering the same horrific incidents. On the back page, Elite Track Camp takes off. Tyson Gates, then your partner to Bridge TT Sporting Gap. Elite Track Camp takes off. West Indies skipper wants big first innings total. That's it for our 3 dailies this morning. So now you know what the main stories are across Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the results of our morning poll where we asked you yesterday, are we getting value for money being invested in sport in Trinidad and Tobago? That was our poll yesterday. 100%, every single person said no. So there you go. All right, let's get into this morning's poll. And there it is on the screen.
Are you concerned about the number of police-involved deaths in Trinidad and Tobago? That's our poll this morning.
Yeah.
What do you say, listeners? Yes or no? Are you concerned about the number of police-involved deaths in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes or no? That's our poll this morning. 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app and all our streaming platforms, you can send your votes via the messaging portals there. And of course, if you are watching us on M&E TV or listening to us on smart devices, you can also WhatsApp us at 318-1021. That's 318-1021. You may have to put the 868 code before it. Are you concerned about the number of police-involved deaths in TNT? That's our poll this morning. What says you?
All right. Right. So we have some results there already. So let's get to it. I'm going up. All right. Hanif Daniel says yes. Ronald Pierre, yes. John Cato, yes. Salim Abdullah. Hey, Salim, we haven't heard from you in a while. Yes. Richard P. Knights, no. Cheryl Henry, no. Keith Besessa, no. Keegan Barrett, yes. Anderson Matthews, no. Donna Clark, very much concerned. Let's see. On WhatsApp, let's see. We have Captain Ron, yes. David Nelson, yes. Somebody else says very concerned. Let's see. We have Anthony from Toronto. What did Anthony say? Oh, you didn't vote yet. Sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. See if we have any more here. CJ New York, no. Gloria Gray, no. Beauty Culture, yes. Carol Guevara, no. Julia S. Batiste, no. Jean Clark, no. Are you concerned about the number of police-involved deaths in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes or no? Evans David, no. Let's see.
You can also call me.
Lover says no. New Hampshire says no. Anthony Toronto says yes to the poll. Okay, thank you, Anthony. Let's see. Jacinta Nichols says no. Ian Lee in West Trinidad says no. Vaughn Drayton, no. Okay. Emmanuel in Fort Lauderdale, no. All right, 222-8255. North Americans toll free, 866-525-1099. Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, 318-1021. Are you concerned about the number of police-involved deaths in Trinidad and Tobago? Good morning, caller. Yes or no?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Yes, I hear. You think I was listening to you? You know how
I know you had an energetic evening last evening. I
uh,
tucked you in. I tucked you in and made sure you were asleep, but I don't know if you know. You know.
oh, boy.
And when I told you goodbye, I love you, you didn't answer, so I thought you drifted off.
Did I just hear the L word past there, Richard?
We love each other dearly, Steve. Is it so foreign for you to hear I love you?
Yes.
We say it to each other all the time.
I get deaf when they start talking, you know.
Yes, what, Rich? Sorry?
I get deaf when they start talking.
Yeah, I zoned out one
Oh,
day.
boy. Good, yes.
All right, Z.
Right,
Thank you.
And I also told her, thank you for the left hand dumpling. You know, it was like you killed me on a left hand dumpling. She gave me the left hand dumpling last night.
What did you say you got, Paul Sweat? What?
A kick me, kill me, and left hand dumpling. It's a special maneuver she does.
Paul.
All right, thank you.
Have anybody else?
All right, Zena. Thank you. All right. Oliver Manwaring, no. Alistair Hart, sadly, no. David Wares, yes. Because it can get out of hand. Thank you, David. Michael Robinson says no. Roger Seawing, no. Jaweem, how do you pronounce that? Jaweem, okay. Says yes.
May I take the opportunity to congratulate two people who represented us at the Masters Athletics meet in Gothenburg, Sweden. Muriel Mitchell, the 7th. I sent the link, Jereem. Didn't I?
Send it again.
Send it again. Muriel Mitchell is the 7th fastest man on the Masters between the ages of 45 and 49, and Michelle Sturge, both of whom I know, is the 6th fastest 55 to 59-year-old woman in the world. So congratulate them, both representing us well in Sweden recently.
All right. Jess Archer Kennedy, no. Pearl Cordis, no. Hector, no. All right. Are you concerned about the number of police involved deaths in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes or no? All right. 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. If you're on the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway, getting onto the Beetham just after Barataria, westbound, there is an accident. Police are already on the scene. That's Beetham westbound, just after Barataria. So that's causing a little slow up, okay? And you're getting your slow up from El Socorro. DL, no. Oscar Daniel, yes. Rena Boodoo Jennings, no. I don't know why people call message and say I abstain. Makes no sense.
Why? You have the right to abstain. What's wrong with you?
You don't need the message. You just stay quiet.
No, they want to register the abstention. What's wrong with you?
I hear you. Morning, Lorna. I haven't heard from you in a while. And Indy. Of course, Carly. Absolutely not. Somebody else says no. Kazim Mohammed says no. DL says no. Did I do Rena Boodoo Jennings saying no and Oscar Daniel saying yes? All right. You have a couple of seconds again. Evie's already in. But you can vote on our mobile app and on our website, power102fm.com. Our mobile app is just look for Power102 Digital, and you will get it in whatever platform that you're on. Okay? All right. Before we get into the news, let me just pull up this one vote here. Dre. Morning, Dre. I vote no. Okay? All right, let's get into our 7 o'clock major news. Evie is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
6 alleged bandits killed in police shootout in Freeport. PCA investigating 9 recent police-involved killings. Minister of National Security says extortion is on the rise. TNT told the nation can benefit from the expertise of 4-time Olympic medalist Ato Bolden, and Jamaican police have apprehended at least 5 individuals in connection with the killing of 8 people. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Afril Cynthia Bab. Good morning. Media reports say 6 alleged bandits were shot and killed by police around noon on Wednesday on Mission Road in Freeport. They were allegedly involved in 2 home robberies in the central area within the last 12 hours before their deaths. Reports also indicate that the 5 men and 1 female accomplice committed a second robbery at a residence in Vancouver before being apprehended by police near Razak Trace on Mission Road in Freeport. Police claim the robbers fired at them and they returned fire in accordance with the use of force policy. 6 people, 1 female and 5 males were shot dead. 4 of the 6 killed were identified as Kevon Sin Bernard, also called Kevon John, Jovan Simon, Saloni Ranghill, and Nicholas Caesar. Yesterday's police-involved shooting brought the number of people killed by law enforcement to 9 in 4 days. Meanwhile, the Police Complaints Authority has launched a probe into the deaths of the 6 people shot and killed by police in Mission Road, Freeport yesterday. The PCA is also continuing its probe into Sunday's shooting deaths by police of 1 woman and 2 teenage boys in Caroni. Postmortems on the teens and woman were expected to take place earlier this week, but according to relatives, their bodies were not brought to the Forensic Science Center, Federation Park, either on Tuesday or yesterday. Those killed on Sunday have been identified as 21-year-old Gia Jody Barath, 17-year-old Amir Pa Bisoon, and 19-year-old Joseph Ramjet. Police allege Bisoon was a member of the resistance gang, and Ramjet was allegedly affiliated with the gang. Barath's mother, Kamla Barath, told the media that she had not been able to plan a funeral for her daughter as her body had not yet been released to the family. She said all 3 families were at the Forensic Science Center yesterday, but the bodies were not brought in. She said police promised the bodies would be brought in today. Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hyde says police are stepping up their efforts against extortionists. However, he says new technology can hinder the detection of extortion offenses. 2 opposition MPs, St. Augustine MP Khadija Amin and Pointe-a-Pierre MP David Lee, have reported rampant extortion in their constituencies. Minister Hines revealed extortion is a very difficult issue because given technology, with something as simple as a phone, the criminal doesn't have to be present. He also said that this crime was becoming more widespread because when a contractor, for example, is operating a business, extortionists do not have to be present. It could simply be a phone call, an email, or a letter. He said extortionists had ways of reaching people, instilling fear of death in them. Hines added that there are already officers in the police service who are very astute, who understand the nature and circumstances around the crime and have been dealing with it. President of the Police Social and Welfare Association, Gideon Dixon, says the organization is not satisfied with the results after significant spending on national security over the years. He says while concepts have been adopted from abroad and used locally, it is important to ensure systems are put in place which are designed to meet unique challenges facing Trinidad and Tobago. Questioned on whether there have been sharing of information used in countries such as Jamaica in crime reduction, Mr. Dixon admitted while it is not his area of expertise, there is need for teamwork and collaboration in the fight against crime.
Crime is transnational, and as a law enforcement body, collaboration is necessary, partnership is necessary, the exchange of ideas, philosophies, strategies also become necessary. And against that backdrop, I am aware that there has been and continue to be collaboration with the Jamaican Constabulary for us to treat with our issues here. When you take all that in the context, and not just Jamaica, we also collaborate with both the US and even our English allies as it relates to crime fighting in Trinidad and Tobago.
Former Sport Minister Dr. Ken Butcher is suggesting the establishment of a sport commission in Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. Butcher says the commission has been proposed in the past. However, he claims it has not materialized. The former government minister explains one of the benefits of having such a commission is the avoidance of political interference when it comes to the development and expansion of new programs for sports. Dr. Butcher says sporting organizations need to stay focused, invest in youths, and display proper leadership.
We have not established a sports commission, and the sports commission, in discussions with senior people in sport and who know sport, would prevent the politicians from being involved in the selection and the fancy dances that we have with sport. What happens is every time a government changes, you have good programs being abolished, new programs coming, and it's a toing and froing, and therefore the structure and the development ends up on the wrong end of the pendulum.
He says the sporting organization should also submit their strategic and development plans to the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago and the Ministry of Sport, where it can be reviewed and appropriate action taken. Dr. Butcher believes there is still a role for experienced and quality persons, such as four-time Olympic medal winner Atto Bolden, into the local sports structure, where his expertise and knowledge can be capitalized upon.
Atto Bolden is extremely knowledgeable on sport, but he can't get into any association based on the structure. So he would have to most probably try and get in as a president, a vice president, whatever. He has to lobby this, that, that. But nobody's going to get him in there. What should happen now, and this is why I'm talking about being fluid, you need to hire people like Atto Bolden into the sport company, hire them, and you say, you're right, you will deal with these 5 sports for me, and then.
The remarks were made during an interview on the Power Breakfast program on Wednesday. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. In news out of the region, the police in Jamaica have apprehended at least 5 individuals in connection with the killing of 8 people, including 3 women and a child, and the injuring of 9 others, including a baby, on Cherry Tree Lane in 4 Paths, Clarendon on Sunday evening. One of the individuals in question reportedly turned himself into the police. An illegal firearm has also been seized. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey provided the update during a press conference at the office of the Prime Minister on Wednesday. Addressing the media, DCP Bailey said the shooting is linked to several other incidents. He further noted that the ongoing feud seemingly stems from a long-standing international dispute between former friends. Well, finally, here's weather news for the period today until midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy to cloudy spells with a few showers will interrupt otherwise hot and hazy conditions. There's a low to medium chance of isolated heavy showers and thunderstorms. Nighttime fair to partly cloudy with a few showers. Gusty winds and street or flash flooding may occur in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. A significant concentration of Sahara dust is present in the atmosphere. Persons sensitive to changes in air quality are advised to take the necessary precautions. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 32 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 25 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 27 degrees Celsius at Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, 6 alleged bandits killed in police shootout in Freeport. PCA investigating 9 recent police-involved killings. Minister of National Security says extortion is on the rise. TNT told the nation can benefit from the expertise of 4-time Olympic medalist Atto Bolden, and Jamaica police have apprehended at least 5 individuals in connection with the killing of 8 people. I'm Afril Sintil-Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you so much, Avril, for our major news. You can join her again come 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right, quickly taking a look what's happening on the highways and on the byways. Has that accident cleared on the B-thumb yet? I got nothing out of the west. Yep, it seems that the accident is a bit cleared up. I'm not too sure though, but he got some traffic from El Scoro heading westbound. The accident is just after Barataria. Ryson Road is beginning to build. Trin City, usual stuff. The heavy ones is by San Fernando. Yep, you've got it. Slow going from south heading up north, and from Coover to Sugarguanas, you got traffic there. All right, so that's a quick one for you. All right, so let's get the results of our poll. I did. Got some more here. Kazim Mohammed says no. Devo said no. Slick Money Group says no. Idonna Clark, I vote no. Rena Jennings, okay. Jared Garcia says yes. And that's it. Yeah, all right, so that's it.
All right, so our poll this morning, are you concerned about the number of police-involved deaths in Trinidad and Tobago? We had 51 people voting on the poll this morning in the allotted time. Of the 51 people that voted, 35 of you said no, you do not have a problem with police-involved killings, and 16 of you said yes, you do have a problem with police-involved killings, for a grand total of 51. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day and throughout programming, and we'll give you the final results tomorrow morning, which will be Friday. The weekend will be done, and we'll all be in a great mood as we head towards the weekend. And of course, even better, we're heading towards theater at Cipriani College, where a lot of madness will take place on Saturday at 8:30 and Sunday at 6:30 at Cipriani College in Valsayn. And of course, tickets are available at the Cipriani College box office from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily. And of course, at our usual outlets like K Squared Fashions, East Gates, West Mall, and Brentwood Mall in Chagonas, and Electronics Arima, Jubilee Railway in Tunapuna, Champlain Auto Services, and Antoni's Florals in Valpark Shopping.
All right. Thank you, Richie Rich. All right, Paul, all yours.
Good morning, Jereem the Dream Richards. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and I would like to extend a pleasant good morning to everyone in Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you.
Good morning.
For joining us.
First of all, let me take time to congratulate, thank, and celebrate you for your efforts in Paris and way before that, and your sacrifices and contributions for many years in making Trinidad Tobago proud. You and your colleagues in Paris and your Olympic colleagues, we are highly appreciative of your efforts and extremely proud of your efforts and your accomplishments.
Thank you very much. I much appreciated, man.
Yeah. Congrats, of course. I think you also set a new national record in the 400 meters. Yeah, so congrats on that too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Huge accomplishment.
How do you feel about Paris? Let's start with that.
It's a bittersweet moment, I would say, for me. I've been to 3 Olympic Games. My first was in 2016 in Brazil. I was a reserve on the 4x4 relay team, and I wasn't able to compete because I was basically the slowest person on the team. Fast forward, we went through COVID 2021. I was able to make the 200 meters finals, where I finished 8th in the last Olympics. And our best chance of getting a medal would have been in the 4x4 relay. We looked really poised to earn a medal in the 4x4 relay. Sadly, our last leg sustained an injury during the run. Once again, that's just sports. So we wasn't able to get a medal in that one either. This time around, I felt like, okay, this is the one. I'm ready. 2 times the champ. I worked really hard. I had an injury last year. I used that as fuel for the fire coming into this year because I knew what I was capable of. And this year I came around very seasoned, peaked at the right time, was healthy when I needed to be healthy. out of that lane 9, there's no other way to run that race. That was the only way to get it done, because the first 100 meters, you have the shortest turn and you get to the backstretch first. But on the second turn, you have the longest turn. So you now have to kind of average how you run that second turn and how you execute that first part of the race. It was all I had. It was all I had to give. This was the best effort that I had. I finished the race knowing, and this is something that I live by. Each and every time I run, I try to give 100%. So I know that at the end of the day, the result given, I know this was the best that I had, and it was the best that I had. I was able to break a national record. I didn't even realize, I think I'm the third fastest person in the Caribbean behind Stephen Gardner from Bahamas and Karani James. This was the fastest race in history. Any other year, the time that I ran would have either won or finished top 3. It was the fastest collective race in history. I'm glad to be a part of that, but I just wish that I got a medal. It was so much things to be thankful for this time around, but at the same time, it's hard to be so close to a medal and not achieve it. But all I know, Paris was
100, 1/4, is it 1/400th of a second?
Yeah, 400th of a second, yeah.
Wow. So when I mean, going into that, because this is your third Olympics, and seeing how Olympics have progressed, what was, you may not have medal there, but let me tell you something. You made us all proud. We saw that you gave your all. You gave your all. And in any other Olympic Games, if wind did blow 2 seconds faster, hitting you on another athlete, you would have gotten a medal. So I think you have nothing to be unproud. You should be very proud about your accomplishment. How do you think this Olympic Games was different to any other, or was it different at all?
For me, it wasn't really that different. I would say personally, I just felt like I was more ready. I had more experience, hadn't been to 2 prior to that. I'm 30 years old now currently. Praise God that I feel like 25, 26 years old. And I just felt I had more experience, and I was just ready, really ready for this one in comparison to the last 2. The last 2, I still had like a little bit of butterflies. It still felt like the moment may have been a little bit too big for me. This time for me just felt like a regular track meet. It just kind of felt like a regular track meet for me.
And people have spoken about that before, the importance of young athletes going to Olympics and getting accustomed to being among all the big stars. What was your preparation like for this?
I work, what is very important in sport, I work with a sports psychologist. Her name is Lisa Mohammed Watts. I've worked with her since I was a junior athlete, and I feel like we push aside the importance of sports psychology, that mental aspect of sport, being able to be mentally prepared, visualization, compartmentalization, being able to prepare yourself mentally. Because when people say that sport is 99 or 90% mental and 10% physical, is actually true. If you are not ready mentally, you could be how much in shape physically, it would not matter, because your mind wouldn't allow your body to work how it needs to work. I was ready physically. I had a little injuries last year, and it kind of spilled over into this year, but I didn't lose faith. I continued praying, I continued working, and I trust in God that, when the time comes around, I would be ready. And I was ready. I usually start the season off and I get better each and every time, so I just kind of trusted my coach, trusting the process, and my preparation leading up to the Olympic Games was good. I had a personal best in the 400 right before, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the Olympic Games, and it was a perfect indication in the right time to show that my body was ready to compete. You just need to be mentally ready for these kind of arenas, because I remember my first experience going to major championships, walking out to set my blocks, and immediately I heard the uproar of the crowd. I've never ran in front of so much people before. I remember setting my blocks the wrong way and then having to readjust, and then it's easy for the moment to get bigger than you. So I think it's very ideal for the younger athletes to one, get someone to help you with your your mental strength and make sure that you're mentally prepared for this type of atmosphere. But also, get that experience. The experience is very important. So next time around you can say, well, been there, done that. I think that's the importance of it also.
What's next for you on the horizon? Because of course the next Olympics is in 2028 in LA. Are you zoning towards that? And what plans do you have immediately and in the short term, medium, and long term towards 2028?
My short-term goals at the moment, I still have to run this season. I have a few meets in Europe. I actually leave this Sunday to head to Europe to run Lausanne Diamond League. I'll be running the 200 meters this time around. So I still have a few meets. I'll be running probably all the way up till mid-September, actually. And just trying to finish off the season strong, be able to, it has always been a dream for me to be able to finish top 10 to be ranked top 10 in both events. Currently, I'm ranked 5th in the 400 meters based on, times and points and stuff like that. And I'm ranked maybe 20 something or 30 something in the 200 meters. So hopefully with some meets, I'll be able to rank top 10 in both events. Long-term goals, I try to take it year by year. Obviously, my main goal of my career is to achieve an Olympic medal. I have every medal from every major championships, be it Commonwealth, World Indoors, World Championships, you name it, I've been there and gotten a medal. This is the medal that I need to get to finish that collection. So my long-term goals for sure is, to be able to get a medal in an Olympic Games, which the next one would be in LA. But if I'm looking short term, next year, please God, we still have World Championships. The year after that, we have Commonwealth Games. I have a title to defend. And we have World Championships again after that. And then comes the Olympics. So I try to take it year by year. Each year is different. I don't want to focus too much on something that's too far away and not look at the present and see what's important in the moment.
Now, I want to go back to the actual race, and because you're an athlete, we're not athletes. Well, I'm not an athlete. Richards is an Olympic athlete himself in his mind. When you get that lane assignment, because it seems that lane assignment is a very important part of the equation at that performing level in the world. Mm-hmm. What does that lane assignment tell you, and what are the advantages and disadvantages? I think you went through a bit of it before, but if you could walk us through that as non-athletes, what does that mean to you, lane 9 as opposed to lane 2 or 3 or 1?
So as an athlete, you need to prepare yourself to run in any lane. A lot of people I saw on social media was saying they always give Jereem lane 9. In the first rounds, I got lane 9, but that is by random draw. Now, when it comes to finals, what place you finish in your semifinals dictates what lane you acquire. So what they do is there are 6, and mind you, there are 8 people in the final, but there are 6 automatic spots that get to the final. So of 3 semifinals. So in each semifinals, they take the top 2 people, right? And that makes 6. And then after they take the top 2, they take the next 2 fastest times in a collective of all the semifinals. So what they do with the top 6, the preferred lanes, I believe, are lane 4 all the way to lane 9. It's a 9-lane track, but they don't use lane 1. Lane 1 is like an emergency lane in a sense. But what they do, the top 6 people who got the automatic qualifying marks, they line them up in order from the fastest. Fastest gets the most preferred lane, and the slowest of the automatic times gets lane 9. So although I finished second, one of the semifinals was really, really fast. They ran faster than all the other semifinals. So they got the top 2 in that semifinal, got the preferred lanes, and me being the slowest of 6, although it's an automatic spot, the best lane for me to get was 9. And then the other 2 slowest times got lane 2 and 3, which were the inside lanes. Now, being on an outside lane like that, this would have been my 3rd time this year running out of that lane. As I explained before, I know that you get to the backstretch first. This might be what physics, I think, maybe. If you move in a straight line, if something moves in a straight line, it moves faster. The being in lane 9, you get to the straighter line, which is in the backstretch, that second 100, you get there before everybody. So you need to now utilize the speed on the first half of the race. The thing is, when you get to that second turn, you have the widest turn compared to everyone also. The people on the inside have less turn, but you have a really wide turn. So when you run around that second turn to get to the straight, it is feel like you went from a distance from so far to everybody just closing on you. So me being the fastest person in the race by leg speed outside of Michael Norman, I say, well, here, I sit down and I think about it. I think about the race. I analyze who in the race, who were in the race. And I just told myself, they are knowing, the other guys in the race, knowing that I'm a 200-meter runner, they are going to go out hard because they know I'm a speed runner. They're going to go out hard because they think I'm going to go out hard. And I need to go out hard because I need to be able to get to 300 meters before them because I have a really long turn on the second half of the race to run. So the disadvantage of being out there, I would say, is that you have no one to key off of. I can't see what's going on behind me, and I know in track and field terms, I'm the rabbit in the race, taking everybody through. They could now gauge themselves off of me, but being out there, I have nothing to gauge off of. I just had to execute my race strategy. As I say, being in the sport so long, having all that experience, I knew that I had to put myself out there so that I came off on the home stretch in contention of a medal and then just try to finish. And that's what I did. I look back at this race and there was nothing that I could have done different. I remember in the last 10 meters or 5 meters where I lost a medal, I even ran through my mind to dive. And I was so out of energy, I couldn't even dive. It felt like I was just falling and landing on my legs, just falling and landing. And I told myself, like, just me in thinking about it in slow motion. I was like, Jereem, if you dive right now, you're going to fall. So they even tried to dive. I had no energy to dive. It literally was like, that was everything I had to give. If I tried to dive there, that would have been it. So, yeah, that was kind of how, in terms of
what's your primary training location? And do you think, in a general sense, our athletes are satisfied with the level of support they get? Because from what you said, being able to go back and look at races in the past, you have your personal experience, but from what I've heard of athletes around the world, they have their whole team, they look at the physics, they have analytics, they have computer screens, they have the kinetics analyzing your run versus the other people's run. Do you think we have that kind of support, and does it make a real difference in the long run?
Yes, it makes a real difference. Do we have that type of support locally? No. I think there's a lot of things in place that should be put in place to have track and field a better sport and give us a better chance to be successful. I train currently in Claremont, Florida, in the Adidas camp. I train with the likes of Noah Lyles. And when people, it's sad to say, when I see some people compare Trinidad and Tobago athletes to, the Americans, the Jamaicans, and all these powerhouse countries that have systems and structure in place for them to be successful, have support from all levels, from corporate to, just low-level support like family coming out and watch, and, community support and stuff like that. It's just sad that we are compared to countries on that level, but yet the average man wouldn't know what it takes. Training with Noah has a full team around him. He has a sports psychologist, he has a nutritionist, he has a doctor, he has a chiropractor, he has a performance specialist. He has every single thing, every single facet, everything that you could think about. He has it at his disposal. What that does, it creates an atmosphere for the athlete now to just solely focus on being an athlete. He doesn't have to worry about anything. All his needs are met, and all he needs to focus on is to be successful in sport. When you foster that type of talent in that way, it allows the athletes to be able to, one, stay healthy, but compete at a high level. all the time. I saw a lot of athletes, speaking out about how, they need support, and I still think that we get substantial support, but there definitely is more to be done for us to be successful. And I just don't like the fact that track and field is always judged so harshly every 4 years. Every 4 years. And when we look at the support that we get as a sport, it's like we get held to this level when people expect medals, but when it is to come out and support, or when it is to actually put in that support, maybe from corporate, or just community support, or just facilitating certain structures for the athlete to be successful, it's not there. And
What do you mean by you think you're judged harshly? Because I saw Michelle Liai put up a post that was agreed to by some and disagreed to by some. I don't know if you saw the post about when you're winning, people support you, and when you do get a medal, people don't understand the sacrifice you put in to even get to qualify. Do you think people underestimate what it takes to even qualify for an Olympics? And what do you mean by
I think
people being harsh?
No, don't get me wrong. This is sport. Sport is sport. People like LeBron James, Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo have critics, and these are some of the best athletes in the world. I feel like still though, we get judged harshly in the sense that people don't know about what it takes to be a professional athlete. If I had to compare Trinidad and Tobago football to track and field, the way we would glorify a team qualifying for the World Cup compared to somebody qualifying for the Olympics or making a final or making a semi-final, it's not the same. Someone finishing 16th in the entire world is like, them couldn't come back with a medal, them couldn't even make a final. It's just never good enough. And as I say, I just don't like the fact that these local people, and we have people that would come out and support, but we don't even get the support. When it's time to compete locally, the stands never full. The last time I experienced a full stands in Trinidad and Tobago was when I was in primary school. We used to have Milo games, primary school nationals, and that used to be packed, the whole stadium packed for that. But now it's like nobody don't really care. I think maybe it's the culture of sport. I think
do you think it's the culture of sport? Not meaning to interrupt you. Do you think it's the culture of sport? Do you think it's the marketing of sport? And how it's marketed in Trinidad and Tobago to make it?
I think it's both the culture and the marketing. I think because if you compare it again to cricket or football, I think cricket and football have lime and drink, more or less. In layman terms, it has lime and drink in cricket and football. So even if someone doesn't like the sport of cricket or football, the atmosphere is there. Maybe we don't have the same atmosphere, and I could understand that it may be not as marketable and people don't really understand, but it's the most fundamental sport. You learn, you run, that is just natural. So maybe we could look into how we can make track and field a little bit more flashy and attractive to the public eye. But I just on the whole think it's unfair the way we are judged and versus the way we are supported. If I'm just looking at the local part, but in all, I still understand that it's sport and criticism is part of it. That is
how do you feel about the fact that the Prime Minister took time to congratulate your effort?
No, I feel great about it. To see that it was noticed, to see that my effort was noticed, and not just the Prime Minister, but friends, family. It meant a lot to me because I think in these days in the media, there's a big push in a negative agenda. Any negative news, people quick to share it and push it out and not look at the good that could be in something. And for somebody to see, for him to see, and for the people of Trinidad and Tobago to see the positive in that situation, it was like a benchmark moment for me to see that there are still people who could see the good in something that could easily be spun as something negative.
When the Olympic team first arrived, the first barrage of criticism came because of what you all were wearing in terms of the Olympic wear. Was that something that was a little bit despondent to the Trinidad and Tobago athletes, that so many Trinidadians were focusing on that?
No, I don't think so. I think most in the camp itself, I think most people honestly just kind of didn't care. We just were focused on competing at the end of the day because what we wear in a opening ceremony has nothing to do what we came there to do. So I think the entire camp was just we saw the comments, maybe one or two people just kind of laugh at it and take it as a joke, but at the end of the day we came there to compete. So if something like that, made you lose focus, then you're not really sure what you came there for in the first place. But the whole camp, I believe everyone was good. Nobody really didn't care about what people had to say about what we
This
were.
being your third Olympic appearance, how do the younger athletes who, because I remember reading that some of the younger ones were so overwhelmed, but they were so happy that they got this experience. What is the interaction like between yourself, having now had a lot of experience with two previous Olympics, is with the younger athletes, and how do you think they felt if you interacted with them in that way about their chances at Paris and their support systems and how they felt about being on that level of a global stage?
Being there, speaking to a few of the younger athletes there, I try to, get them in that comfort zone, try to give them things that would help me focus. So, I would say like, I'll say stuff like, don't let the moment get too big for you and make you get too overwhelmed. And, at the end of the day, just perform as best as you could perform. That's what we ask of you. Yeah, I know there's a lot of pressure. This is your first Olympic Games, but try to lock in and focus in and ask God to just carry you through the moment. And once you could go out there and say, well, this is 100%, this is the best that I had to offer. And if it's a good result, if it's not a bad result, if you leave the track and you know that on this day, at this moment, this was the best that I had to offer, then you can't be mad at that. So I hope it was able to help some of the younger ones, the ones that at least I spoke to. And I know at the end of the day, though, this experience in itself is going to be something that helps them become better in the future. Because as I said before, my first experience in a big crowd like that, I didn't perform well at all. But I used it as experience for the next time that I was able to run in front of a crowd that large. So I hope they use it as experience and fuel for the fire. I told them that, you may have not gotten the result that you wanted in this Olympics, but use it as a pivotal moment to go back to school or wherever you go to train hard in the off season so that you could be successful the following year, because we have World Championships next year, please God.
Well, great. We promoted this interview to give the audience a chance to celebrate and congratulate you. So we're going to open the phone lines so the audience can interact with you and pass on their congratulations and commendations to you. So while the phone lines are open, we're waiting for the first calls. Let me ask if you think people underestimate, because their seasons, and when I called you about the interview, you were getting ready to go to a training. And people think, well, the Olympics done, so your work done, but you actually continue training. What is it like for you on a daily basis preparing for a big meet? And the phone lines are open, by the way. Mm-hmm. To get people a sense of what sacrifice it takes to actually get to a World Championships or get to an Olympic Games.
I wake up at 7:10 a.m. every day to get ready for practice at 9. I have a young one now, so my daily routine is a lot different. I train on the track from 9 a.m. till about like 11:30. Then we have gym. I'm in the gym from about 11:30 till like about 1:30. And then after that, I still have abs, and I have an ab session for like 2 hours. And then I had to come home and be a husband and a father too. And then try to go to bed by 10:30, 11.
All right, we do have a call, Jereem. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, Jereem the Dream.
Good morning.
This is Ken from Atlanta, Georgia. Facebook reminded me yesterday how long I have been watching you. I'm proud of you. Keep your head up, young man. There's a lot of youth looking at you. You speak so you articulate yourself so well. Just continue. I'm still screaming and shouting on my screen every time I see you. I will keep supporting you. Even after your career, continue, being that positive role model, right? So keep your head. I'm so proud of you. I'm still screaming. I don't want to shout and Richard and all of their hair, but you go, boy. We are proud.
Thank you.
Diaspora is really proud of you. I just spoke to Tanaya mom yesterday, and everything is just so always positive to hear about you. So people are looking at you, and you are looking up to you. So continue doing what you do, sir.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Thanks for the support out there, all the way in Atlanta.
Oh, most definitely. Bye.
Thank you, Candace. Janelle Penny Commission says congratulations to you as well. And all the best.
Thank you, Janelle.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning to Mr. Richards and the rest of the panel.
Good morning.
Yeah. First, let me congratulate you on reaching the finals in an Olympic event. That is always something big to start with.
Thank you.
And secondly, I've listened to interviews over the years with respect to the Olympics and other world events. I was really moved by that interview you did with that reporter. It was so moving to the point that you could hear every emotion in your voice, as if you really felt that you let down the country of Trinidad and Tobago, and you just felt disappointed at that point in time. How was it? I really was moved by that speech. You really felt, you let down the country, What's your stake?
Thank you.
I kind of felt like I did in a way. I feel like not really let down myself, but how hard I worked to just fall short. It was like there's a hard pill to swallow, and also I know how Trinidad and Tobago media this be, and I just didn't want. I would have liked to have a positive effect going forward with a medal, and thank God I was still able to have a positive effect without a medal. But I wish that I was able to bring home something. But at the end of the day, God's timing is best, and His plan is better than the plan that I have for myself. So we would see what the future has in store.
You referenced a couple of times seemingly a sort of judgment from the population of Trinidad and Tobago if you don't medal, and it seems that it's something heart-wrenching for you when you know you're giving your all and you're sacrificing. Would that be a correct assessment of that sentiment?
Very correct. My first experience in the Olympic Games, as I said, I wasn't able to run, so I had a lot of time on my hand outside of training. And in 2016, when I saw the kind of comments being made, that taught me not to be on social media during an Olympic Games or World Championships or something. But looking at it just sad that knowing that we are the best that the country has to offer, and not everyone, but some of our own people don't even appreciate it like that, But this is the best the country has to offer. Like, it can't get better than this, Now we could foster our talent maybe a little bit more with the right support, the right system, etc. But at the point in moment, this is the best the country has to offer, and it's like some people think it's just easy to get an Olympic medal, and it's not, because everybody wants it, and there are only 3 medals available. If you do the statistics on it, the percentages ain't going to be high on how to get one.
You have vast experience now. You would have gone through primary school in Trinidad and Tobago, secondary school. You have the opportunity to train with the best in the US now. What would you like to see, based on your experience in your career so far, put in place in Trinidad and Tobago from as early as primary school to start the development and succession process for athletes based on your experiences?
One of the biggest things I would say is that locally we don't believe in kids being able to multitask, do sport and academics. When your kids go to the US, what they would have to do on a scholarship, sport and academics. We need more systems in place to facilitate sport, to make sport more than a hobby, more than an extracurricular activity. I can't just pinpoint one thing, because if I sit down and I look at coaching, I look at the systems in school that facilitate sports, stuff like that. There's every just corporate support, having more structure, all these things would associate to having a vast improvement in sport. And obviously promoting sport culture, being more prideful, something as small as recognizing, the past heroes of sport. In the past I made some trading cards for athletes. And in doing my research, I didn't even know some of the athletes that were there. And if you don't know, you're not interested in it, you're not going to find it. So how could we now recognize these athletes for the younger generation to say, well, somebody from my community or somebody from my country was able to do this? We need to now put these athletes on the forefront where younger generations could look up to them and see something that, okay, if this person was able to do this, then why am I not able to do this also? He was from my area, etc., etc. So I think there's a lot of things that need to be done. And I hope that within this next 4-year cycle, we actually have some good, solid ground to stand on. So moving forward, the next generation would have good traction going into, World Championships and Olympic Games and stuff like that. But we need support, but not just from one place. We need support from everybody, from the ground up. We need support.
The corporate sector you mentioned in the US is very big in sport because sport is $1 billion business. So they understand, even before Noah Lyle got his Olympic medals, talent there, Adidas, Nike, Puma, watching him.
Mm-hmm.
How important is that for you in Trinidad to be? Because I would venture a guess that had that 400th of a second been in your favor and you got a bronze or a silver or gold medal, corporate TNT would be lining up behind Jereem Richards to put a big poster on the papers with you. And,
currently though, I would have to say I'm currently sponsored by 1 Adidas, 2 Bryden's company, and 3 Atlantic and Caribbean Airlines actually also. So I have a few sponsors there. Now,
let's congratulate them, Bryden, Caribbean Airlines, and Atlantic. So we thank those 3 corporate sponsors for supporting you.
Yes. But I also think there's many different ways to sponsor. It doesn't always have to be monetary, but I think each and every company and corporate company could find a way to sponsor or help sports, be it through a track meet. If you're a company that maybe have, let me say, something like supplements or something along those lines, sponsor a club some supplements or some Gatorade or something like that, maybe some water, send a case of water or 2 cases of water to a club every month, just top them up, stuff like that. It doesn't always have to be like something you're giving somebody some money, but there's different ways to help and sponsor. People having events, be able to support these events and show that these companies are tied into the grassroots and able to support from the ground up. I think that is something very important, and companies shouldn't wait till someone is very successful to then jump on the bandwagon. And another thing is sometimes when people are successful, some companies, they don't even support. They might just say congratulations and post it, and then post their logo with a picture of you, and they never supported you, but they dare to say congratulations and use that as a means of marketing themselves also, or to show that they are affiliated with. Nothing wrong with saying congratulations there, but say congratulations and support too.
Couldn't say it any better.
Are we still taking your calls?
Yeah.
We're speaking to Jereem.
8255 North Americans, 866-525-1099. That's our numbers directly into our studio.
Yeah,
A lot of messages on our message board congratulating you.
Oh, thank you.
8255. This is your opportunity to be interactive with Jereem Richards. We're speaking with him. Our own kind of post-mortem of sorts.
Yeah, someone was asking here a while ago, what were the conditions in comparison to other Olympics, to the Olympic Village in Paris?
It was kind of like a typical Olympics. I'm sure you all saw the viral cardboard beds. Trying to be as politically correct as I could be, but you saw the viral cardboard beds, which at a point was kind of difficult to sleep on. You had roommates and thing, which is normal. We didn't have no AC, but it wasn't. You grew up in Trinidad, you could sleep with a fan, so it wasn't too bad. The atmosphere was good. Our setup was good. The Wi-Fi was working, so that was good. Where we were, it was right in front of the Olympic ring, so our real estate was good too. All in all, it was very similar to other Olympic games in the past, I would say.
Wonderful. Got some calls coming through, so let's grab them. Good morning.
Pleasant good morning, everyone. Pleasant good morning to Jereem and Richard. I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Entering the Olympics. Now, when I look at your run there and in that particular final, I see the intent of you giving your all, right? And I appreciate that. I could appreciate that. We continue to, I like the interview, right? And you're answering all the questions. I have a quick question for you though, right? Like how you say we know that different athletes have a team around them, right? So like the Lions guy from America, different one would have a team around them to do their research to help you be the best you in terms of, or the best them in terms of what the sport is concerned. Do you have that team around you, all right, that that would be in the best interest of you to help you be the best you when it comes to you don't have to worry, then you have to go, you should have to just go and train and try to better your time, try to in terms of your diet and supplement in terms of technique. That is all that I think you should as a professional athlete would have to concentrate on, and your team take care of everything else. Do you have that team around you? And again,
all right,
congratulations, and be proud of you.
Thank you. To answer your question, I have a team, not to his magnitude though. I have a sports psychologist. I have a doctor, which is Dr. Ragoobarsingh. I have a performance specialist, which is Alban. He was also on the Olympic team. He is part of the Olympic team. I have a massage therapist, both over here and back home, Nicole Fuentes-Charles and Sean Kettle. Obviously, my family and my intimate circle, my wife, my mom, my sister, my brother, my dad, my in-laws, Susanna, who always praying for me, all of them always there for me, always praying for me. It means a lot. To his magnitude, though, I don't, because he has accessibility to those people at least 2-3 times a week. Mine are a little bit different. Something like that, to have that type of circle and that type of system working, it becomes very expensive, and I just kind of had to work with my budget what I could handle. So I do, but not to that magnitude.
Two-part question as we head to close. One, who do you see as the people we need to look out for based on your experience in terms of the young athletes coming up, and place attention, emphasis, and resources on? And two, how important is events like the upcoming Character Games coming up next year being hosted in Trinidad and Tobago?
So I'll answer the who I see coming up. Kadeem Chinapu. He seems to be a very formidable, a very passionate and strong runner in the 100 meters. And the 200 meters, actually. I think he could be a force to reckon with. If I'm talking about senior athletes who are at the Olympics, Leah Bertrand, I think she is so talented. With maybe just 1 or 2 little things to fix, I think she could be one of the best we've ever seen. She is small, but she's powerful. Devin Augustine, he's also one of our top male sprinters right now, currently in the 100 meters. And he's actually a good 200 meter runner also. I think with some years of maturity, and I think he could be really good. And obviously, the Frederick twins, they are phenomenal at a young age. They're currently going to Georgia, so I hope that they do well in their collegiate debut next year, please God. And with the upcoming Character Games, I see this as a big opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago, one, to show our culture to promote our sports tourism and to come out and support the young athletes. I think it's very important because we home. We are cursed at home for the first time since maybe 2000 or whenever it was banned. It was a very long time ago. I see it as an opportunity for the people to come out and support, for our culture to be shown, and to promote sports culture in Trinidad and Tobago. I hope that we make the best of it. We support the athletes, and I hope that the athletes go out there and train really hard and work hard towards this, because at home, people gonna be expecting medals, so public, please support, please be light on the young ones, but let we try to come and full out this stadium, bring our rhythm section, show the different facets of Trinidad and Tobago culture, because this is the perfect opportunity for us to show that we are one of the best Caribbean islands in sports and in culture. And I don't think we should let this opportunity go by just easily and have a lackluster performance or a lackluster showing.
You hang out with the other Caribbean islands. Dominica did well, St. Lucia did well, Jamaica didn't do as well as they normally do. What do you think is happening in Jamaica now, given their performance, to prepare them for next Olympics or World Championship? Because Jamaica has a different mindset, and you would be familiar with some of the athletes and their approach to sport.
In Jamaica, they have a really good culture and they're invested in sport. Everybody knows about track and field. It's their national sport. It's a big deal. I'm sure some Jamaicans would have been maybe disappointed in some of the performances, but they had some really big performances on the field. They had a gold medalist in the discus. But obviously now, since Usain Bolt has retired, we've yet to see the dominance in the Jamaicans in the sprints. Kishane Thompson looked really good. He lost by a fraction of a second in the 100. So it shows that they have the talent there. Oblique Seville got injured in the 100 and he looked like he was going to be a medal contention. So I think they might have a taste of slight disappointment, but also a lot of optimism too, because they still have a lot of fuel in the tank still, with a lot of young ones coming up still, so their machine is still working and still churning out athletes. It's just to get them fine-tuned well enough with that experience with racing and all of that, so that the next Olympics, they're able to be on that dominant spot once again.
All right. We do have a call, Jereem, a final call. Thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning again. I'm glad that Mr. Richards mentioned the Frederick twins, because I know they are just 18-year-olds. They recently competed at our games in the Caribbean and Grenada. And I would hope that those twins do not fall by the wayside and are mentored positively so that they can be a force in 2028 and even before that. Thank you.
All right. Right.
You're heading to Lausanne, Switzerland next. That's the next big meet?
Yeah.
When is that coming up?
It's the 22nd of August. So yeah, I'll be running the 200 meters there in Lausanne, Switzerland, Diamond League. And I'll be running all the way up to September. God spare life, health, and strength.
That's next week?
Yep.
1 week from today?
It do done until it done.
Wow.
Where do you see yourself post-athletics?
Post-athletics, I think that I've been in the sport so long at all levels. The local level, I've been to junior college in the States. I went to Division I college in the state, University of Alabama and South Plains College. Graduated there, was able to go to the professional route. I'm currently signed by Adidas, and having all that experience in sport, learning so much from many different coaches. I want to coach. I wanted to be able to be on the other side, to see an athlete come to you with a dream and goals and help them along their journey towards those goals. I think that is what I want to do. I've learned a lot over the years, and it would be hard for me to do this all my life and then just go and do something else. So in the next few years, I plan on doing my coaching license and probably doing strength and conditioning also, so I could have those both things going for me. And I honestly want to bring it back home to Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know how it's going to work because coaching is a free job locally. And that is not something that would be able to put food on the table for my family. But hopefully when I'm ready, something is put in place where it's not free anymore. Hopefully I'll be able to, have a professional camp in Trinidad and Tobago where I'll be able to foster local athletes who maybe didn't have the opportunity to go to college, or athletes that didn't run so well in college that came back to Trinidad to be able to help them do well. That is actually what I would like to do. I feel like we have too much talent to
Not
just
before
throw it on the
the
wayside.
opportunity to go to LA 28 to bring back that medal that you want. That we want.
No, yeah, for sure. But LA in the books right now for sure. I mean, I didn't get it this time around, but God's spare life, health, and strength. We go in LA.
You will get it. Jereem Richards, thank you for being with us this morning once
Thank
again.
you so much.
Congratulations.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot
for your
for joining us.
sacrifice, and we appreciate you being here. And we're going to bother you again heading to Switzerland and bother you again heading to World Championships to keep you on people's minds, to keep the support going. Thanks so much for taking time this morning and continue.
Thank you. Much appreciated. And it was a pleasure being here.
All the best to you and your family.
All right. Thank you. And same to you all.
Take care. All the best.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Of course, that was Jereem, the Dream, Richards.
Sure,
Any
Paul.
relation to you, Paul?
Yes, we all come from a long lineage of fast runners and talkers. Coming up next, Marsha Walker has three athletes, sportsmen themselves: Brent Sancho, Ryan Emmerich, and Mr. Jagasan. They'll be all talking sport coming up on Power Conversations. Have a great day and be safe.
Yes, and as we are talking fiction about Paul Richards being fast on the track, there is great fiction taking place in Cipriani College this weekend called Lotto Madness. And it's on at Cipriani College Saturday at 8:30, Sunday at 6:30. Get your tickets early. Of course, the box office at Cipriani College opens from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily and all the usual outlets. You can check RSRR Productions Theatre on social media for all of the information, including how to purchase tickets online. The weekend begins tonight, people, at a second after midnight. Don't you forget it. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do.
All right, let's get into our 8 o'clock news brief, if you say.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Time for your news update at 8 o'clock. I'm Avril Sintel-Bab. Good morning. Jereem, the Dream Richards, says he gave everything in the finals at the Olympic Games in Paris recently. He said he had an injury last year and used it to fuel his push to win. He revealed that he did all he could in the race and is disappointed to have been so close to a medal, 1/400th of a second to be exact, and not receive one. He made the comments while speaking on the Paul Breakfast Show this morning. This was his third Olympic Games appearance, and this time around, he said it felt like a regular track meet to him. He also divulged that he works with a sports psychologist, and this helps him to prepare mentally for the games. He said, if you're not ready mentally, it does not matter how physically fit you are, you will not perform well. He also noted that it's easy for the moment to get bigger than you, especially performing in front such of a large audience. Richards underscored the necessity in keeping focused. He disclosed he leaves for Sunday for Europe, Louisiana, Switzerland, to run in the Diamond League. He said his long-term goal is to get a medal in the Olympics, and the next one is in LA. However, he does have short-term medal goals as well. Former Sport Minister Dr. Ken Butcher is suggesting the establishment of a sport commission in Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. Butcher says the commission has been proposed in the past. However, he claims it has not materialized. The former government minister explains one of the benefits of having such a commission is the avoidance of political interference when it comes to the development and expansion of new programs for sports. Dr. Butcher says sporting organizations need to stay focused, invest in youths, and display proper leadership. Meanwhile, Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, Shamfa Kojo-Lewis, is urging Caribbean nations which took part in the Olympic Games in Paris recently to do a review of their country's performance. She believes there can be partnership and sharing of knowledge regionally in the sporting arena. Minister Kojo-Lewis made the points while speaking at a news briefing this week. It's her view there are practices and programs which are a success in some countries which can be adopted in other territories. And the BBC is reporting people in Botswana have reacted with outrage on social media after the government asked citizens to donate money to reward the country's historic gold medal winning Olympic team. The government says the fund would be a way for citizens to honor their athletes by contributing rewards to their champions. Leslie Tebogo brought glory to Botswana after he became the first African athlete to win the men's 200 meters at the Olympics, bringing home the country's first ever gold medal. Well, that was your update to 8 o'clock. Look out for news in full at 12 noon.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Alrighty, it is 5 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on this, the middle of the month, the 15th day of August. Let's say good morning, going out to Marsha. Walk.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Not bad at all. How you
I
doing?
heard that there were police by the sinkhole. I know that this is your area of expertise.
Well, I know the sinkhole was repaired, then the other side had a sinkhole, and then it was repaired, and then it started again. So I don't know. I really don't know. We need to do things properly the first time when we're doing things. That's all I have to say. We have to do it properly. Not a temp patch, because it's taxpayers' dollars involved in a temp patch, but we need to do it properly. All yours.
Right.
Have a good day.
Well, I see Riyadh is already here. Do we have Brent and Ryan? Are they there? Or am I just here with Riyadh alone?
You're there with Riyadh.
Okay. Riyadh, thank you for being on time.
Thanks for having me, man.
Okay, so I'm going to start with you. And then, whenever Ryan and Brent join in, we will have them included in the conversation. So just to let you know, if you didn't see the flyer, we are going to be joined by the head national coach of Trinidad and Tobago for squash, because I'm not sure. I don't know when you're coaching how much you take on news around and stuff. But, there was an announcement that T20 cricket would be included in LA 2028. So to squash and flag football. I mean, Brent will have to tell me about flag football. But so that's why, of course, we would have asked Ryan to join as well. Let me just make sure and check my phone. Sometimes they may be having difficulties just making sure that nobody's sending me a message saying, they can't get in. Hold on. I have messages. All right. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. But I'm going to put you in the hot seat for a little bit. I don't think you're somebody that shies away from speaking the truth. We would have seen a lot, Olympics is here. So of course, during certain times, T20, like the World Cups and all these kinds of things, all of a sudden, everybody knows about sport. Everybody has something to say about sport, and they're all experts about sport. So yes, you see, you find it funny. We would have seen yesterday's front page newspaper. There was a picture of Keyshawn Walcott receiving a check, and it was for about $250,000, which worked, and that's an annual check, right? And it's part of the elite funding program. So I don't know if I have no idea how that program works. Would you have been part of that program? How is it just for athletics, or is it that's where Brent and Ryan and they could have jumped in as well?
There was a few years ago when we played in the Champions League in India. The government then were given to the national cricketers a monthly allowance. We benefited from that, but they also stopped that. I think that was only for a year or two, if so long. They stopped that for the national cricketers. I don't know if it was because we had played in India in the Champions League and we did well. It was like some sort of compensation afterwards. But it was really handy for us as cricketers, because back then we really wasn't earning that much. And for guys who were just depending on playing for Trinidad and Tobago, that stipend was really handy for us. But they had stopped it. I can't remember if it was a year after or 2 years after they discontinued that. And I know Kishon and some athletics, they some athletes who in the athletic fields they still get, but cricket, no.
Well, the comments I found the comments to be unnecessary. A lot of persons were saying, we can't get our book grant, we can't get this grant, we can't get that grant, but you hand and Keisha on a check, and it's really, really unfortunate because right under that article, you would see Jereem Richards saying that we don't have a culture of sport. One, we expect Trinidad to do as well on the international scene as large countries like USA, even Jamaica. We consider them, they're Caribbean. But in terms of the population, there are more people, right? So you're asking this tiny island to really come out and be consistently mighty. And he's saying that here's what, we don't have a culture of sport. So right after he says that, you're seeing people commenting, being absolutely upset that athletes are receiving this elite funding. And I'm thinking, how do you expect them to perform day in, day out? Do you expect them to go and get a job, and then have a full-time job and then go and train? So right there and then, right on social media, without leaving my home, I could see that we don't have a culture of sport. We're just inside our supporters. So forget the ministry, forget all the other things. Just us as citizens, do we really put what we need to put into our athletes? We would have seen in the news, the Botswana government asking citizens to contribute. And this is after the fact. They want to celebrate their hero after winning, what would have been like, it's kind of like the biggest gold medal that you could win in the Olympics. And you're still seeing citizens going, well, why would we contribute? They're upset. Kind of feels like a trendy thing. Could you imagine Kishon coming home on a goal and then Rowley saying, well, you all have to help to celebrate, bring some money in to the pool. So there seems to be.
I think
Yeah.
A lot of people in Trinidad, they expect the athletes to do well. They don't care how they do, what they go through to achieve what they achieve. But when they win, they have all the good things to say. If they don't do too well, all the negativity comes in, and negativity sells. It don't matter what it is, negativity sells. And as athletes, you go through so much things. As I could talk for cricket and some footballers. Most of them don't have jobs. They depend on getting to the national team, and then to go outside to play to earn a living. There's a couple of guys in the national setup now who's very educated, can't find a job because they're overqualified. They're not going to get paid for how overqualified they are, and they have to depend on getting a national contract and to play for the national team to earn a living. And if they don't get a national contract, then what do? They have to go and do a normal job, and then when they go and do a normal job, they're not getting time off to come to practice to represent Trinidad and Tobago. And it's so many times that you see these comments on social media, and you wonder if it is they really, really, really care about the national athletes. And we as athletes, we do get a lot better treatment when we go outside and play than when we're in the Caribbean. Sometimes when we even home, because sometimes we travel to Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, and we get so much better treatment than when we're in Trinidad. I had a time that I come to Trinidad, the lines were so long in immigration, and a woman who made me out, she's like, what you doing stand up in the line? You should be getting. I said, no, I'm in Trinidad. We don't get that preference in Trinidad. And she was, so amazed. But if I was in Guyana or Jamaica, like even for CPL, after CPL, I represented Guyana for 3 years. I was in a line. An immigration officer in Guyana came out, took me out the line, took my passport, and I didn't have to stand up. And that was so amazing. I'm not a Guyanese, but they respect what I did for Guyana in CPL. But we don't get that kind of treatment in Trinidad,
Yeah.
Sometimes we even go
And
try to
funny
go
enough,
through the VIP
about
line, and they will put us back.
yeah. Well, but you shouldn't have to try, you know. I'm going to give a story because you speak about that, you know, and I remember I was waitressing in England. This is like maybe 20 years ago, Brent. And you know, somebody was like, "Do you know Brian Lara? Because you're from Trinidad, you know." And I literally got £100 tip because I was Trinidadian and I knew Brian Lara, you know, and I remember going. So at one point, I think it was Dwight, Brent would have to tell us, but we had quite a few Trinis on Sunderland's team. So I went to, you know, to watch and to see the way that the fans like rushed our athletes.
Yeah.
We just don't have that admiration for athletes. But as you say, you know, if we win, if we qualify, I remember when Bahrain, I tell that story all the time. I was there from the beginning when it was me, my brother, and about 2 other fans. I remember when we were losing one of the games, the 10 fans that were there got up and left, and I was like, dude, can we just wait till the game finishes before you get up and leave? But then come Bahrain, I can't get a ticket. I have to be there at 4 o'clock in the morning to line up to try to see the same team that I was watching for the last 3 years. You know, but now that we think we're going to qualify, all of a sudden the bandwagon comes. And, you know, so this stemmed from Michel Ahi. Let me tell you where all of this stemmed from, because Michel Ahi was bold enough to say, you know, well, thanks to the half of Trinidad and Tobago that supported us, but, you know, to the other half, you know. So, Brent, join in. And, I mean, you could talk from the fans, from an athlete perspective, from, you know, inside Ministry of Sport. I know a former Minister of Sport, Ken Ali, he spoke about a sport commission, the need to remove political interference. But then I may argue that we might need more political interference, because I saw for the first time, I have to say, I agreed with the present Minister of Sports, Shamfa Kajo, where she said, you know, these are independent bodies. So as much as I would like to come in there and say, do this, do that, do this, do that, I can't. And now that I'm a mom, I'm experiencing it from a totally different side, where Jessie was supposed to travel in July, right? So the NBFTT, so she plays basketball, and, you know, we were supposed to go to this qualifying tournament. Money was there. Everything is there. We haven't started training, but the NBFTT says, you know, to the coaches, keep your girls fit, keep your girls training and whatnot, right? Tournament come and gone, and Trinidad didn't represent. It's not in the media. There's no media release. There's nothing. There seems to be no accountability. But the Minister of Sport is saying that the money's in the account. So what's going on? You know, and that happens over and over and over. And I've had to say to her, see, this sport you're playing is a waste of time. You training. I leave in my house 4 o'clock in the afternoon, coming back home 11 o'clock in the night every single day. Pick something else.
Yeah, but first of all, good morning, Marsha and Riyadh. It's good thanks for having me in the program. It's amazing that we tend to have these sorts of conversations, right or wrong now, when something goes wrong in sports, when something, that the public at large feels that sport hasn't done well for them. But, you have to quickly remind Trinbagonians, we are spoiled. I mean, what we've been able to achieve despite all of the challenges, and I'm sure Riyadh would have mentioned, you, Marsha, mentioned, it's phenomenal. When you look at what we've done in cricket, what you look at what we've done in football, what we've done in track and field, in our history as a country, it's truly remarkable. It shows that we have a lot of talent on the island. Of course, there are challenges, and sport comes with challenges. And I think I heard Riyadh mention it. We don't have a sporting culture in Trinidad and Tobago, and that's unfortunate. And that's one of the reasons why we do have some of the challenges, the real challenges that we're now talking about. Because yes, we've thrown a lot of money behind sports. So I mean, a lot of people come in here and talk about, well, we need this, but where has that money gone? What has it gone into? Especially now where sports is a lot more data-driven, more specific in terms of how we approach things. And because we've relaxed our laurels on the individual brilliance of people like Riyadh and other people in sports, we tend to forget that these guys and boys and girls that have made it, really done it out of the pure talent they were born with and the hard work and perseverance that they put into the sport. Not the data-driven approach, not all that is now that you need to be successful in sports. And now it's coming to bite Trinidad, because we've relaxed on that laws for such a long time that now it's demanding more of us to be able to medal, to be able to qualify for World Cups, to be able to be the best in the world. That if we don't start assessing, looking at things from a holistic point of view, we are going to continue to struggle.
Brent, that's actually a really, really good point, because Gary Griffith mentioned before, he was actually on the show before, and he spoke about his son, going to the US and being able to do testing to show that one calf is like whatever millisecond something, and just that adjustment can make a difference. We would have seen, persons talk about Keyshawn, apart from the fact that he had surgery within 12 months to have such a surgery and all of that, and still even be able to qualify. But most persons don't even realize that what he won gold with is actually a shorter distance than what he came seventh with. You look at Jereem and the point, whatever. You look at the 100 meter, everybody ran under 10 seconds. So as you're saying that now, and you're raising a really, really good point. What we need now to compete on a global scale is something very different. We're seeing that the speeds, the throws, I could speak to hockey, what the goalkeeping equipment that we would have used 30 years ago is totally different, because the speed, you can kill somebody with the kind of speed, the kind of power that someone is shooting at now, compared, we use cricket pads back in the day because we played on grass, etc., etc., etc. The type of hockey sticks, everything is changing. Riyadh will say it was not sheer talent, because I know that he prides himself on his discipline. I saw one of his Instagram posts. He talks about he trains just as hard now in his 40s as he did in his 20s. So he's a guy of work ethic. But we all hear the stories. We all hear the stories of what the sacrifices that you guys would have had to make. And, it's not enough anymore. It's not enough. Keyshawn would have spoken about selling crab just to be able to afford money to get to, to the stadium from Toko. He would have had to make a hard decision to stop A-levels, because if he was going to compete, then he needed to be closer to the stadium. These are all sacrifices. Brent, I know some of your colleagues would have, they sold bottles at that time, to buy boots and stuff. So the grit that we had before is just not enough. We are into an age where science matters, as you say, data matter, and we can no longer power through our way. This mighty tiny island with a heart of gold, and that's what we won on before. And it seems, in fact, I put yesterday on social media that I think we used to be known for our warmth, and now I feel like we're getting uglier and uglier and uglier. When I see the comments, the villages that came together to produce these athletes. Red, you'll have to tell me more stories. I'm calling people that aren't here. But Bravo would have spoken about, the entire village in Santa Cruz coming together to buy his first set of pads and stuff. Are we still, so you have the demands increasing, but I feel like we have the support decreasing. People will say, well, it's the economic climate, it's the crime, it's the whatever. But the warmth of the island seems to be losing. Everybody's fighting up to survive themselves. Riyadh spoke about the lack of opportunity for guys who are qualified but cannot get a job. And of course, I'll speak to the politics, but sport is an avenue. And I just can't understand. I saw again domestic violence this morning with a really horrific murder. And sport is an avenue out for so many guys, guys who school is just not it. And and I'm coming from a place where, for my daughter, she's not interested in math and English. But, so there are opportunities other than this beat your books. And beating your books these days is not getting us a job. And we don't seem to be giving sport the respect that it deserves. Riyadh, you're coming in and out. Riyadh is not in the country, Brent. I have no idea where you guys are. I appreciate when you guys just, log in from wherever you are. Who's jumping in?
Yeah, as I said before, when we are doing well, we have the whole nation on our back. We have the whole world on our back. As soon as something goes wrong, even if it is that we think we did our best, and I mean, sport is like you win, you lose. I don't think players go out there intentionally to do bad. We have those moments where we don't do well, but the true supporters are the ones who stand behind you. Whether you do well or you don't do well. Social media now is all about negativity. As I keep saying, that's what sells. And as soon as you put something negative on social media, everyone comments, and they have a lot of things to say. When you do well, a lot of people, only the true fans are the ones who really come out and support you. But I still think the people that are in charge need to do a lot more for development as athletes. There's
Speak
so many times
specifically.
when you
What would you like
travel,
to
you
see?
see a lot of nations who are going past us in every single thing.
I don't know if we had pause there. I'll pick up from where you left off, Marsha. To be more
Facilities.
specific,
I don't think we have the facilities.
yeah, go ahead, Riyad. Sorry.
Red, you're breaking up.
Yeah, sorry
So
about
we
that.
lost you for a minute because I was
Yeah, sorry about
asking
that.
you
The
what
facilities is the
specifically
most
would you like
important
to
thing.
see? I'm losing you. What
Yeah.
specifically would you like to see from the authorities, from those in charge?
I don't know if Riyad heard the
Okay,
question.
so Brent, you will keep
Yeah.
speaking, and then we'll tell him to be quiet until you.
No, Riyad is making a valid point. I think he's certainly making a valid point in what he's saying. We at the end of the day, when you look at the amount of money spent in sport, and let's be factual here, there's millions and millions of dollars spent here in Trinidad and Tobago in sport, but what is it spent in, and where is it spent? Is it focused in the areas that needs improvement, needs of course that sort of money being injected into it? We've all spoken about the scientific approach, the data-driven approach. How much money is spent in it? I can tell you, not a lot at all here in Trinidad. It's unfortunate because we do have people trained here to be able to do those sorts of things, but they're not paid. They're overlooked, and 9 times out of 10, they're undervalued in what they produce. And when you look at the types of money, it hurts me, especially and going into football. I've seen it in cricket as well. When you see all these government agencies having these fly-by-night football leagues all over the place and cricket competitions, don't get me wrong, that's fine. Yes, okay, community building, but it should be more driven and directed and have something with a bit more with longevity attached to it. Not a flash in the pan, something that would make an MP for an area look good. But I would like to see something that has a bit more substance in it. And I think that's been the problem in Trinidad over the last couple of years. We've really struggled to put money behind things that have substance in it. When it comes to sport, it goes right back to what we said at the start of it. Well, when I joined you guys, about the sporting culture. You're right. I mean, at the end of the day, these same people that are arguing about our results, when we had our entries in the national stadium, it was half empty. None of them came out. But it's very comfortable for them to stay behind wherever they are and argue about the sport. That's that very dollar that you spent to go into the stadium to watch a cricket game. There was a T10 tournament in Diego Martinez Regional Complex, well run, well executed, and it's about 5 people there, 10 people there. But then these are the same people that want to shout down and be negative towards our athletes. That same dollar that is being spent in those sorts of situations help towards funding all these various programs, because at the end of the day, sports is an expensive thing. It's becoming more and more expensive because of the drive that sport is taken. It's a much more calculated approach, as we've said. So you need that sort of support. So again, when you drill down into the sorts of money that's been spent in Trinidad and Tobago in sport, it is up there. However, is it being spent in the right areas, in the right direction? I may question that.
So you're hearing 2 different things coming out from you. One, the money is needed, so supporters come so that we can make the sport sustainable. So we don't depend on government. But then we are also saying that there is government funding, but we're not seeing the value. It's not being spent in any sort of data-driven approach. You know, that we just kind of dump money behind a problem. And of course, that's something that you hear in Parliament all the time, you know, the education, national security. We have this idea that if we just say, what's the budget? What's the budget? What's the budget? What's the figure that you're spending? What's the figure that you're spending? But we don't seem to be getting the results. So we're not getting value for money. So there are two things that are happening. Where the persons that are giving the money on the top, maybe there's a disconnect, because Riyadh, you were saying before, I see your face has cleared up, your screen has cleared up, so I'm assuming your internet's a little bit better now. But you know, you were going towards, you know, how do you want to see the leadership spend the money, you know, and you were speaking to facilities and such. But Ryan has joined in. Ryan thought it was 8 p.m. Ryan, I'm sorry for the miscommunication. So I want to make sure that we all know that our head coach of squash is not a guy who is not punctual. Right? But so we're going to give Ryan just 2 seconds to join in the conversation. Ryan, we were speaking about, you know, the lack of support in terms of citizens. Brent was just talking about, you know, you have good tournaments, they're run well. But the stands have 4 or 5 people in it, and that dollar that you would spend to go in, that entry fee, all of those things contribute to making sport financially viable. Yes. And then, of course, you know, he also spoke about the science, the data, you know, where sport is going. We can no longer depend on sheer grit, sheer talent, sheer determination. We have to have a more scientific approach. We have to take sport into the 21st century. Ryan, I think you've dropped out. All right, Riyadh, the floor is yours. Internet. So, oh my, Riyadh, tell me you're still here now.
I'm here. Hear me?
Okay, yes. So the floor is yours.
Yes, so
Brent took over because we lost you.
Yeah, you know, we go back to the facilities. We are in 2024, and you know, some of the facilities back home, you know, we definitely need to be up to standard, and you know, we wonder why our athletes are not performing, you know, at the optimum best. I still think we are, given the facilities and stuff that we have. You know, players are probably outshining, you know, what they should be doing, and you know, we still come each and every day and try to do as best as we can. But you know, as Brent said, the amount of money has been spent in our stadiums is not showing, you know, what we could really get for the money that has been spent. We've just been to England recently, you know, and we saw the facilities there. They have so many changing rooms. You can host 6 teams at a time. The indoor facility is you know, wow when you go there compared to ours. So many pitches on the field. You know, the square run from one side of the boundary to the other. You know, while we struggle to have 2 pitches prepared at a time back home. You know, it's all about, you know, they come and they say, you know, they don't have the funding to have enough ground staff and so on. But, you know, they must find a way. You know, we're in 2024, they must find a way. I think that, you know, things need to be done. Yes, we know the money is always going to be an issue, but the people that is putting the money in there need to find a way to have the proper structure for the money. And I'm not saying that, you know, in all the time that it's not being spent in the right way, but they must have people accountable. If they say they're going to spend X amount of money, then people are accountable for spending X amount of money in the right way. And, you know, some of the athletes are getting frustrated. You know, I've been getting calls. I'm away. I'm joining the team next month. I'm getting calls every single week from players, you know, how frustrated they are. And it's kind of heartbreaking, because I know what we went through when we were playing, and it seems like, you know, they're going through the same sort of things at this point.
Nothing seems to be changing. Do you think that we have what it takes to make it to LA 2020 for T20 for 2020?
I think
Riyadh, you on this internet. Where are you in the world? Can we make it to 2020?
Sorry, what do you say?
Can we make it to LA 2028 for cricket?
I think we I think we could. I think we should. I think we should. There's a lot of good players in Trinidad. I think our players are really committed, and being to the Olympics would be another push for them. I think we will do well. I don't know what is the qualifications, how you qualify. That's going to be another challenging thing. I don't know what sort of schedule they're going to use and what sort of format they're going to use. But I do think that we have a very good chance, and the players they themselves will want to experience an Olympics. So I do think that we stand a good chance. But obviously we'll have to find out what's the format, how the qualification stages, what you have to do to qualify and that sort of thing.
Ryan, squash, Olympics, talk to us. Have you heard anything other than the announcement that, it's going to be there? What are the qualification stages, as Ray had brought up?
Yes, I'm in the airport, so sorry if you hear any announcements as the people in the airport making the announcements.
That's okay.
No, I've heard a lot. I think everybody has valid points, but I think for us to do well in sport, it has to be well managed. Everything has to be well managed, and people have to understand what also it takes to be an elite athlete. I think that's what a lot of people, at least from what I see from my perspective, is a lot of people don't understand what it means to be an elite athlete. Being an elite athlete means that your entire life revolves around your sport, and it means that you train like 6 days a week to 3 to 4 hours a day, which is what a lot of our people in Trinidad don't quite understand. And we have to understand what sacrifice it takes. It takes sacrifice from everyone. So yes, we talk about the money all the time, but the athletes themselves have to understand that they have to be fully committed to the sport that they're in, and they have to understand that their life has to revolve around the sport. The sport is not something that they just do socially. It's not just something that they do that once or twice a week or 3 times a week. This has to become a complete lifestyle for you. You have to be fully ingrained in it, and the parents that have young ones coming into it, the parents have to understand the amount of sacrifice that they have to put in terms of time sacrificed as well as money. But a lot of it comes down to the time, because that is what's really going to take them to that next level.
Yeah, but can we afford to spend that kind of time on 4 or 5 hours a day, and then you have a job or you have school?
That's the only way to be an Olympic athlete. It's there's no way around it. If you want to be an elite athlete, you have to put in the time. If you go on, the beauty of what we're living in right now is that we have everything available to us online. So you can go on YouTube and you could go look at a day in the life of a U.S. Olympic athlete, or a day in the life of how Michael Phelps used to train, or a day in the life of Cristiano Ronaldo. Our young athletes now have this available to them. We didn't have it when I was young in 2001. There was no YouTube. Everything is available to you all now. We can contact coaches, elite coaches in all sports, and find out from them what is required of our athletes. How do we get to that next level? I mean, we have everything available to us in terms of knowledge, in terms of information. We might not have the money right away, and we understand the money is always a challenge, because the athletes have to be able to travel, they have to be able to pay for their healthcare, they have to be able to pay for their hotels, they have to be able to pay for their coaching, which is very expensive.
Yeah, well, because I'm hearing you talking about the amount of time that an Olympic athlete trains, and I started the conversation, so you would not have been here, but I explained that my daughter, 14-year-old daughter, we leave home at 4 o'clock, and we don't get back home until 11 o'clock in the night, and that is 6 days a week. And the only reason that we miss Sunday is because I say the Sunday is the Lord's day, and you're going to be in church.
One day off.
Well, she still goes and sweats. If we finish church and sweat is happening, and she gets lunch and all of that, because we say to her, only if it's, only if you're allowed to go and sweat on a Sunday. And then we just don't travel. We just don't go. We just don't hear anything, because the funds weren't released, or the this or the that. So, I mean, I'm hearing you talk about the time. Brent, I'm sure, Ryan, I am sure you have guys that are putting that time in every day. That's in football and cricket, certainly that culture of spending hours and hours and hours on the field every single day, that's there.
I hear Ryan say
I can only speak to basketball because that's what my daughter plays, and she plays it in enterprise. So that would be in what would I consider, they would call it a hot spot. In fact, right next to the court, there is a memorial site because a little boy died there and stuff like that. So for these youth, they give it their all, hoping that they can travel, that they can be spotted, that a scout will see them. And as I said, they're there till the lights come off, training every single day, hoping that one of them, just one, gets a scholarship. And that's not even making it anywhere. They just want a scholarship. They just want an opportunity to be out of the country to do better. And they're giving it their all every single day. To go nowhere, to literally go nowhere, because I started with saying, in July, the national team was supposed to travel, and you didn't even hear, where's the national team? The national team just didn't go anywhere. And that would have been a qualifier. So all of us here would understand the cycles. So if you miss that qualifier, you're out for the next 3 years because you needed to take part in the first event to get anywhere else. So that's it for under 15 basketball for 3 years, till the next cycle comes around.
No, I think one of the things that moving forward, I think for sure we need an assessment, a national assessment as it relates to sports. Everything that we've said here this morning points towards that. It's unfortunate that we need something like what transpired in the Olympics for this to happen, but I do feel we need to have yearly assessments, and not just for track and field, for all sports across the board, and of course where and how we can get better. I always feel that you can tell where nations headed and how important, or where they see sports, the importance of sports. I think Ryan mentioned, I know Ryan was alluding to it, is that we do have a tendency here in Trinidad and Tobago where we like sports, but I don't feel like we are true lovers of sports, because sport is not up there for us as it relates to the nation. Anyway, that's how I see it, because we don't put everything that you would see other nations put into sports. So I think an assessment is extremely important, so we can know how we are mapping our way forward. Is very, very important for Trinidad and Tobago, because as we have said, other countries have not only just caught up to us, but they have surpassed us now in the sporting realm. And I think we also have to have the ability to find out how do we move things forward. We talk about, of course, money as part of it. How do we get and engage more corporate sponsors and corporate people getting involved and putting more support into the sport? And how do we look after our athletes to make sure that they could become their optimum best? As Ryan rightfully said, it is a full-time job to be an elite athlete. And to do such, you need full-time support. You need all the support in the world to do that. It is very difficult. These guys on the show will tell you, it is very, very difficult. Coming from where we come from, the region that we come from as well, to become an international elite athlete, it is tremendously difficult. So we need all the support that we can, because as I said, the reason I brought up money, because I'm seeing money being spent in sport here in Trinidad and Tobago, but it's, as I said, it's not being directed, channeled, appropriated in the right way. And you can take all three departments and see it however you want to see it, because you can't argue when it does go to governing bodies that it is misappropriated in some instances. So all those things need to come in. Again, it comes down to how serious is Trinidad and Tobago about sports. As a former sportsman, I hope that this Olympics is a wake-up call to us in this country, that we have to realize that we have to give sports a lot more attention than we have given it in the past couple of years. We really do, because we are continuously sliding down a slippery slope.
You said someone has to do an assessment. Whose responsibility is it to do that annual assessment? Well, in this case, it's not annual, but we just kind of have to see where we are at.
I think everyone that's involved in this one. I think if, of course, it'd be perfect if it's driven by the Ministry of Sport. And the reason why I say Ministry of Sport, because they are the biggest contributor to governing bodies as it relates to funding and whatnot. And if it could be facilitated by them, but it needs the contribution of all. It doesn't matter, creed, race, political party, it doesn't matter. Bring the best people, best minds in sport from Trinidad and Tobago and let them contribute towards it, because we do have some brilliant minds in sports. that that work for so many different countries, which is amazing, and help enhance different countries. Bring them back, get their opinions, get them to give, of course, their direction as to how we should take sports. That's when you know you're getting serious. And then have a plan, have something in place to make sure that we could implement some of the things that would have come up. And that's the way to move sports forward. But I can't remember in any time in the recent future we've had those sorts of conversations. We have it now because obviously what transpired a couple of weeks ago in Paris. But after 2-3 weeks down the road, I'm very sure both Ryan and Rhea would bear me out with this. The sport conversation goes mute and things until something else happens again. If sports is as important as we believe it is in Trinidad and Tobago, because I'm looking at all the outcry and everybody so angry about our performances, then make it something that is spoken about all the time, every week, until we execute and get better. Don't wait until until people have another uproar again. And I think that is where we need to go.
I think a lot of things is we have in the uproar, right? But the public has no idea just how hard these athletes have it. So I've been very fortunate where I've actually been able to talk to these athletes on a personal level, Jereem Richards, Keyshawn Walcott, and to hear the struggles that they have. I mean, these recognized elite athletes. Jereem is a double Commonwealth gold medalist in 200. Keyshawn Walcott is a gold medalist in the Olympics. And to hear that the government barely gives them enough money for them to fund half of their expenses for the year. People have no idea how expensive it is for these athletes to live a full-time athletic career. They have no idea. They think, oh, they got $250,000. For somebody like Keyshawn, that can't even fund his whole his annual expenses. If you think about how many events they have to go to every year, the Diamond League has like 15 events. If they go to 10 of those events and they have to travel to foreign countries and they have to pay for hotels and they have to pay for coaching, that $250,000 goes up in the air like nothing. So they think that the $250 is a lot. It's not. I just did our budget for our junior team next year. Our junior team has to go to Cayman Islands next year, and the budget for the team is $400,000. That's one trip for one junior team.
And how many people are on that team?
That team is 18 players and 3 officials.
Wow.
Right? That's one trip. So if you think about other athletes, if you think about the cricket teams, the football teams that have to travel, and those teams might have more people or more, and they go into further countries. We go in our region. We stay in Cayman Islands. If you have to go to Budapest or Australia or to France or to any of these foreign countries, guys, it's expensive. It's really expensive. So the government has to incentivize corporate companies to give more. And the government has to understand that if they want medals, they have to put out more money to our athletes. They have to do it.
And you say that, it's Cayman Islands, but at some point, if we're talking Olympics 2028, you're going to start regionally, but at some point you're going to have to reach, international soil if we're talking Olympic qualifying, Guys, it's 8:47. I think we've actually covered it. This might be the first time in the show, in the history, you're not talkative like Gary and Atto. I had Gary and Atto here, and that was actually before the whole outrage. But Atto Boland's been speaking track for a while. And, and that, of course, when you start to say the negative things, which we believe it's the truth, persons, they seem to think that you're a troublemaker. I actually have said, and I'm appreciating that Jereem is speaking out. I think he is saying some hard truths. But I've often said that as athletes, I don't think they speak out enough. I don't think that, maybe they'll say they're not getting involved in the politics of it or whatnot. But maybe there is a space or there needs to be a space where, you guys are, I don't want to get Ryan in trouble, being the national coach still in it. Brent, well, you're already in trouble, but, you would have seen, and if we go back, I don't know how young an audience we have, but your career, I think, ended prematurely because you spoke out. And so there is a real victimization that can occur for athletes. I'm not taking that away. But if we continue to just hunky-dory, stay quiet, and the athletes do not begin to champion their own cause, speak about that. Speak about what can the athletes do, to demand the respect that they deserve. Who's
But
going
I don't
first?
say anything badly. We're not saying anything bad to try and get anybody in trouble. We're not trying to come out and call out anybody's name or say. We're just saying what we need to get the results that they want. Because everybody's saying that they want results and there's outcry because we have no medals now for 2 Olympics. But the fact is, we're not calling out anybody in particular. We're not saying any minister in particular, whatever. We are saying that we as a country, we want better for ourselves. We want to see our athletes doing better. We want to see our youth doing better in general. And we're just saying the things that we need for us to do better. We're just calling out the things that we need. We need better management. We need more funds. We need better facilities. These are just the things that we need if we want to better our country in general. So I don't see why we should have to be afraid to say what we have to say. Nobody should be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid to come out and say that we need better for ourselves to be able to do better.
Sorry, Ryan. The unfortunate thing is we have a lot of thin-skinned people here in this country, especially in higher places. And when people like yourself, Rayad, myself, speak out and say the truth, as you rightfully said, say exactly what is and paint the picture, and somehow it end up, no matter what you say or what is said, it falls in their garden somehow, and they take it personal, and that's a fact. And it's very, very unfortunate because I am so happy to see people like yourself, Ryan, and Rayad is on this call. Of course, we heard from Jereem. Michelle, they're speaking out. You have to, because how else you would know what's happening? How else they would know? But again, the unfortunate thing is, as I think Marsha was alluding to, we have a culture here in this country when somebody says something, if you say something, you either yellow or red, or if you say something, either black, we tend to go down that road. And that's very, very unfortunate because at the end of the day, only the athletes can say exactly what they need to qualify and what they need to of course, upkeep. And that's the unfortunate thing with this, with it. But I implore them to continue speaking because I don't think it's fair that we have all these comments coming on one side and the athletes staying silent on the next side.
Yeah. Because you spoke about the assessment, right? I mean, and that sort of echoes what Atto actually said when he was on. And he said, we need to put the pettiness aside. I think in Paris, he also spoke and he said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we had in the past. It don't matter who I called out in the past. We need to come together, put the pettiness aside and get the job done. So, and I like the idea where you say, the Ministry of Sport can facilitate a conversation, bring everyone together. We would have seen it happen with the constitutional reform, right? That is something that politics we're supposed to do. You're supposed to go into each constituency and get the views of everyone. We can do that on a sporting level, bring the athletes together, bring the former athletes together, bring the technical staff together, and have an open, honest, brutally honest conversation where we can be mature enough to take the criticism, whether you think it's ill-founded or not. Take everything, allow everyone to say what they have to say, and then we could start to filter it out. But we do need a safe space where athletes, former athletes, technical staff, and maybe even some of the supporters, maybe some of the supporters need to be able to say, why aren't they coming into the, because that same T10 tournament that you spoke about, it was well run, but there was nobody there, So maybe the supporters need to say, what's up with the marketing? How can we get supporters in? Rayad, I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak to that, with the athletes.
I know for a fact that athletes are scared to speak out because of when you speak out, you get pushed behind. I did that. I was captain of Trinidad and Tobago team. I spoke out for my players. They were uncomfortable for certain stuff. I was removed as captain next year. But I'm not going to sit back and watch things happen and, play a blind eye to it. And now I understand why players don't do it because they get sabotaged. And it's just the truth. And players not going to do it. Athletes not going to do it because, this is their livelihood. If they speak out, some players go behind their back, some athletes go behind their back and say, this is what they shouldn't have done that, they shouldn't have done this. I experienced that as well. And nobody has, there's a few who would stand up and say X, Y, Z. But the majority is not going to do it because this is, let's be frank, this is their bread and butter. They're not going to they didn't want to go and lose it, But the people that are in charge should have some balls and say, okay, we're not doing what we should be doing. Not everyone, not everyone, but where we need to get it right. They know what they need to be done, what is need to be done, and they're not doing it. A lot of people like power in Trinidad. They want to hold on to positions even though they're not doing the right thing, and they know they should be doing the right thing. They know what should be done, but they just don't do it. It's okay for us to come as a nation or past athletes and say, this is what should be done, and that's the real world. I don't think we have that in Trinidad and Tobago. I honestly don't think that we have that. People don't come out and speak for the right things. We always, for some reason, speak for the wrong thing. As Brent say, there's a T10 tournament, there's only 5 people in the stands. I played for a club called Alaskan Comets a few years ago, and we were almost 2 years straight in line for demotion. And one night, we said we'll just have a line at the club. We decided we're going to have a T20 tournament just to bring back people to the club to look at cricket, because there's absolutely nobody looking at cricket. I can tell you it was the most successful T20 tournament held in Trinidad and Tobago, probably in the region. It's a very small ground. We had over 3,000 people on the finals night coming to look at it. We helped so many people in the village come out and sell stuff. People asked why we didn't charge them to rent a tent and that sort of thing. But that's not what it was about. It was bringing back people to the community to watch cricket and have the community back together. They even shut us down just after COVID because they said there's too many people and COVID and X, Y, and Z. But people was starved for cricket, and it's unfortunate that we didn't have it after that because of funding. We couldn't get corporate Trinidad and Tobago to come on board. We had our sponsors in the past were very, very good to us, but then after that, people just decided that they're not going to put money back into the sport, and it was amazing to see how much of a success that was. People spoke about it every year. People keep asking, when CSL is going to happen, when CSL is going to happen. But the amount of work that has been put in, and we don't get paid. The committee members don't get paid for the sacrifices. We go to the ground at 4 p.m. every single night for 30 days, and we leave after 12 in the night. I have a committee of 12 people. We don't get paid. This is people who go to work, come back, come straight to the ground, leave at midnight to go back to work at 8 a.m. And people don't understand that they think that you throw a tournament and you get money from it. You don't get no money from it. We just do it because of the love of cricket and to actually bring the community back together. But we don't get anything from it.
I feel this is very unfortunate because I think that we've had such a conversation being in sport long without giving away all our ages. And I'm not sure that the conversation has changed, unfortunately. Brent would have experienced victimization. I remember getting injured a week before Commonwealth, and at the time, I was a single mom. I coached to earn an income, and I was on crutches, and that made life so very difficult. And that was, you gotta thank you. Nobody even really called to check up on you. That was that. Move along.
I must say, for cricket though, whenever we're injured, they take good care of us. We have a very, very good system. Our physios has been excellent. We've even if now people are injured outside of the country, the first people they call is our physios in Trinidad. Sports medic TT, Jason, Oba, and those guys. They are very, 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 very good. If I can say one thing, our cricket team is probably one of the fittest in the Caribbean at the moment. And
I'm
these
so
guys,
happy that there is some improvement in that area.
Yeah, these
so we will
guys-
leave on a very positive note that that our physio is getting there. And I know that we have sports psychologists and stuff now too as well. So I don't want to take us into a conversation where you all are gonna end up speaking too long because it is now 8:59 and all of a sudden you all have gotten really chatty. So we'll leave on that positive note. Rayad, I'm going to give you the last say because you said something really positive. Last say, you have 30 seconds.
Just for trying to be able to be positive, keep supporting our athletes. We go there, we try our best. I know it's a tough road, but continue to support us, and for the people in charge again, please keep backing the athletes and spend the money in the right way. Right?
Ray, we want to see you as the coach for the Olympics, so don't say too much more. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure. Ryan, have a safe trip.
Thank you for having me.
Rayad, Brent, have a great day, and thank you so much for, having the conversations and saying the hard things. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Good day.